Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gon' hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gon' hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gon' hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gon' hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gon' hold. My agent just said we made 100 flat. Make it back and make it stack just like I'm Steven Jack. Put my rings up in the camera like I needed that. Up in the air and at the rim is where I meet them at.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Scott Lewis, host of I'm Not Gonna Hold You, and welcome to the Chicago Bears season preview special, man. It's me, Flows, J.R. Bang, Mikey, holding it down from the Pillar Store in Chicago, man. We're gonna break everything down for y'all. As you can see, they let me here in Halas Hall. So we're gonna be interviewing some players. We're gonna be interviewing some of the Chicago media, get their thoughts on this upcoming season. Mikey's also got some gambling knowledge for y'all. We're gonna talk about all the topics going into the season. Are the Bears gonna make the playoffs or they're not gonna make the playoffs? Tune in, check it out. It's the Bears. I'm Not Gonna Hold Your season preview special on H&B Media TV and Barbershop Network. Let's go.
So cool.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gon' hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the I'm Not Gonna Hold You Chicago Bears preview special. We are here at the Pillar Store in Orland Park Mall, man. We've got the whole gang here. Well, majority of the gang here. Dante's not here. Courtney's not here, but we got J.R. Bang is here.
Hey.
We got Mikey here. And we've actually got Flows here, who's here on his work day to come
Tired as
through
fuck.
and do the show.
I'm with you. It's been a long. I've been whams all week long.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Recipes
Bang
BK.
yeah. So we here, man. It's all Bears, all everything today. If you're looking for anything non-Bears, this is not the episode for that. We're gonna do a full breakdown of this entire season. We've got some dope interviews, got some player interviews. I got a couple interviews with a couple people with the Bears media. Got some dope footage from training camp. All of that going to be put in here. And also, I hit a little bit in the streets doing the tailgate. We see what the word is with Bears fans as we get ready for Caleb Williams' first start at Soldier Field, even though it's preseason. Now, by the time you watch this, preseason will already be over. But when we recorded that's when everything was going on, man. But, of course, you can follow me on all social media platforms at Barberchair Scott. You can follow the Barberchair Network at Barberchair Net on all social media platforms. Follow H&B Media at H&B Media TV. Follow JR Bang, all social media platforms at JR Bang. Follow Mikey at Junior_Solito. Follow Flows at Flows Andolini on all social media platforms. And, of course, subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Barberchair Network. And get in tune with our sponsors, man. Pillars holding it down. They've got 3 different locations here in the Chicagoland area. They got the one right here in Orland Park. Got one in the West Loop. And, of course, they got one in Chicago Ridge. So shout out to Duke, shout out to Mike, shout out to the whole Pillars fan, man. But
Hey, you did that good. You trying to get that job at the school?
Yeah. You might as well. Yeah, I'm looking for somebody. Me and Jason go. You gotta get one. Gotta put a brother up in there. But how we feeling? It's the first time we've been in person, by the way, that we've had this. I ain't seen Bang in a long time.
Yeah.
This is actually the first time I've actually met Mikey in person, which is hilarious. The power of the internet.
Puerto Rican has infiltrated.
And yeah, exactly. And this dude I've known since fucking forever, obviously. But anyway, how we feeling?
Feeling good.
Feeling good?
Feeling good.
Feeling good, man. You got me out here. This is far as hell. I thought I was in Indiana, but it's cool.
I'll be honest. I'm feeling delusional.
That's
I'm
perfect.
feeling the Bears are going to the Super Bowl.
We
Yeah, this is
need,
definitely going to be the
tired of hiding
delusional
it.
show.
we need to lose
I'm tired of hiding
Flows.
it.
Yeah.
We're going to inevitably lose to Patrick Mahomes, but I'm still feeling. I'm feeling probably divisional right now.
Anybody who is 79th and Halas fans out there, of course, you know Flows is trying to get his journalistic bag. But as I say on the show, we have no journalistic integrity, so we don't give a fuck about any of that shit. We're going to go full meathead as well. But let's talk about some of the storylines to begin this season. A lot of things have happened in the last, 10 months or so since the last time the Bears played at Soldier Field. Of course, that number 1 draft pick ended up being Caleb Williams. All the hype they had with Caleb, that he's a bad teammate, that he doesn't, he's Hollywood. All this other stuff, and none of that has been proven to be facts since we've been here in these last 4 months since he's been drafted. You know, they traded for Keenan Allen out there, drafted Rome Odunze. This defense has gotten even better. Paid Montez Sweat, paid Jalen Johnson, looking pretty good. I'm gonna start with you, Bang. What's a couple storylines that you're looking forward to as we get into this season?
Offensive line. We're starting to see. Hopefully, we're starting to see the whole entire offensive line starting. Don't know what's going on with Nate Davis. Sometimes he's in, sometimes he's out. But the offensive line, because one of the things is with Justin, you know, when you feel like he's going to be run first or get out, sometimes that can make the offensive line look bad. But with Caleb, it looks like he has control of the offensive line. They're getting out there quicker. So I'm excited to see how they're going to look for the rest of the preseason going into that first game against the Tennessee Titans, because they do have a potent defensive line. So very interesting to see what that offensive line looks like. And the defensive line, too. We don't have a second pass rusher. So what can we get out of who we have now? Will we sign somebody? How does Gavon Dexter look on that line? So yeah, the trenches is what I'm looking at.
Yeah, trenches is definitely a big thing. That's basically how you win a Super Bowl. If you look at the last couple teams that not only won but actually been in there, they've had amazing offensive lines, amazing defensive lines. That's the biggest question mark I had as well. We do know they were in the Matthew Judon trade talks. I'm guessing the Patriots figured out the Falcons pick was going to be lower than the Bears, which says a lot about what people are thinking the Bears are going to do. But also that Ryan Poles decided, I'm going to give up a third rounder. Also tells you he kind of feels the same way about this offensive line. Mike, you've been saying from the jump that, you were worried about the offensive line, defensive line. Is that like the main storyline for you, or what's some of the storylines you got coming to this year?
Yeah, for sure. The trenches are still the most important thing for me. I think we've seen now early on through camp, fatigue is setting in. We still have some guys that are supposed to be big contributors, Tevin Jenkins, Nate Davis. We're seeing some guys already getting nicked up. So the depth on the offensive line, I know Ryan Bates is currently week to week, and that's very big because you did give up, I believe it was a fourth or fifth round pick for him. You anticipate him being in there at right guard if Nate Davis, for any reason, continues along the path of not being available. And then you have your second year right tackle in Darnell Wright. You would like to see him improve and take that next step. And then, Braxton Jones, we know that that Ryan Poles, they found him in the fifth round, and he kind of has an affinity for him. But we need to see if he's going to be, the left tackle for the, going on for the future, and if he's going to go ahead and secure a second contract with this regime. So for me, it's definitely the offensive line, and then the defensive line, echoing the same sentiments as y'all. The trenches, I still think that they're about 2 players short on both sides of the line to take that prolonged run that we would like to see. Something like how the Eagles had, where they were able to interchange 6-7 guys on the defensive line to really get after the quarterback. So I just want to see how they go ahead and address that, whether they address that before the end of camp, or if that's something that, if they get off to a hot start, if Ryan Poles will go ahead and give up one of those draft picks next year, during the trade deadline.
What's good? It's your boy Scott here with DJ Moore. DJ, how you feeling after this big game today? Caleb had a couple big plays. Offense looked rolling after a tough start.
It was good. I know we had the 3 and outs, but offense still looked good. We still was on pace, and then they came out, and Rome had the end around that started us off, and then they connected for the 45-yarder.
Was there anything you guys said to Rome on the sideline when he didn't get his feet down on that one great play that Caleb threw to him?
Yeah, that was a rookie mistake right there. He had to know where the back of the end zone was. But he said it was tricky back there. It's a lot of lines back there.
Yeah. Considering that you guys might not play the final preseason game, how do you feel about what this offense is right now going into Week 1 against Tennessee?
I think it's great. We all got a great connection from the line out to the receivers to the backs, and Caleb, of course. We just all having good camaraderie and just day in and day out having each other back.
How does it feel like an offense to see a defense as great as it's been today, and knowing that you guys are going to have multiple chances to go out there and put more points up?
That's amazing. They top 5 in almost every category, and we just got to go out there and be top 5 in every category on offense.
That's all I have for you. Thank you, man. Joe, you've been at camp, obviously, with me through this whole time. We've been seeing this team and everything they've been doing. Is there anything outside of the trenches that you think is a big storyline?
No, the biggest storyline is still the trenches because I think the most concerning thing is none of it's impressive. Whether that's the offensive side or the defensive side, it's not really great. Like, you have promise in Darnell Wright. Tevin Jenkins, I will admit, is a solid guard, but you have questions with Braxton Jones, aka PFS favorite. But he's not really a good tackle. Right. Whether it's slow off the line, lack of strength, and then lack of really solid technique, I really struggle to see what's impressive about him. And then you go to the interior. Nate Davis, who I think had a strong second half of the season, is not healthy. And then you have Ryan Bates coming in, Coleman Shelton at center, and that combo has not been good. Whether that has been against the Bengals in practice or has it been in camp against their own defense. They've not looked great. And then if that doesn't get going, then it makes Caleb's job a lot harder. And all of that talent that you had, whether that's DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, it won't matter if he doesn't have time. And then you flip to the defensive side, it's really Montez Sweat and a possible. It's like you playing spades. I got 3 in a possible. That possible is Javon Dexter. And again, if his entire time playing is him standing up, then that's also not impressive. And as with both sides of the ball, if the line isn't good, everything else will suffer. Talented backfield, talented skill players, talented defensive backfield. But if the line sucks, everything crumbles. And unfortunately, I think Poles was a little short-sighted with not fixing that. I guess great when you get splash players, but I want to have a line so good, I don't hear about them. Right. That's the best offensive line. I don't hear about them because they're always being solid. They're always holding their blocks. They're off the line quick. They're communicating. They're picking up blitzes. And I don't see that with the Bears, and that concerns me.
Let me ask you a question. When you look at a team, obviously the foundation of your football team is the lines, defensive and offensive lines. Do you think Ryan Poles kind of built this team backwards? Because if you look at it from when he jumped in, safeties, cornerbacks right away. He doubled up on Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon. And for somebody, everybody likes to say, oh, he's a former offensive lineman. The motherfucker was not good. Like, let's be real. It's not like he's, what I'm saying? It's not like
he's Anthony Munoz.
Not like he was Owen Cruz.
No. So I agree with you in the short-sightedness because I don't believe when you have a rookie quarterback with the potential that you guys have seen in camp, and we'll get into that later on, I think it makes it so much easier if you just go ahead and you install a center that, hey, I know how to snap the ball, I know how to handle protections. You don't have to worry about me.
Yeah.
This connection, because it's pitcher catcher.
Yeah.
So going and getting a Coleman Shelton and then getting a Ryan Bates, 2 guys that are obviously not really starters long time in the league.
And he was hell bent on Ryan Bates. Like, he's been trying to get him 2 fucking years.
Lucas Patrick 2.0, everybody. You heard it here first.
And the way he's built the team is like waking up, putting on your shoes, and then getting in the shower. Like, what kind of process are you doing?
He got his Winnie the Pooh on. He put his shirt on first.
Like, it's a terrible process. And my hope is he knows something that fans and media don't know. And we look at it and all of a sudden that combo is good, because when I saw Ryan Bates and Coleman Shelton in the last practice I attended, they looked terrible. So much that Matt Pryor came in and it was an improvement. So I don't have high hopes for that line. I hope to be pleasantly surprised.
And I also think, too, like, I think you said it well, both of y'all said it, about how if it's a good offensive line, you don't know their fucking names. Kansas City got a good offensive line. I don't know nobody on that line except for, like, one person. Like, that shows you how good they are. Like, with the Eagles, same thing. Like, obviously, Jason Kelce when he was there, but, like, nobody else.
Lane Johnson.
Lane Johnson.
I can't name.
Name me the top 10 linemen in the league right now.
I can't
name you anybody from the Ravens right now, and they're stout.
Right, exactly.
You can name me the top wide receivers, running backs. You can name me even the top linebackers. You cannot name me the top offensive line.
I could give you Sewell from the Lions just because he's in the division and we see him.
Trent Williams.
But you're looking at a 32, 33-year-old.
And he's only.
This is like when men sit around and start naming random players.
Yeah.
You just have to randomly think about your knowledge.
What y'all niggas know about Ruben Brown?
Chuck No Block.
Now, the one thing I will say though is, while it may have been built backwards, we have one of the best linebacker corps in the NFL, in my opinion, and we do have an improved secondary with Kevin Byard there. So we are probably going to see, depending on what happens, we'll probably see a lot more coverage sacks than anything. But at the same time, though, it may give somebody like a Austin Booker or the DeMarcus Walker a chance to improve a bit. So we might have had to overextend ourselves in one place until we find another. So we'll see.
You can always mask a bad defensive line before you can mask a bad offensive line.
Oh, hell yeah.
If you remember when the Packers won the Super Bowl, that was not a good defensive line, and I will never listen to anybody who says. No. But what they did, whether it was stunt to hell or overload, they loved overload. Yeah. It would be 4 linemen sitting right outside the tackle, and they would just overload constantly. They did a good job of hiding and scheming away a bad defensive line. You can't really scheme away a bad offensive line. You can leave in an extra tight end, extra running back, but they're not additional linemen.
I'm not going to hold you. Season 5, we back September 6th. Think we talk about Chicago Bears too much? Guess what, nigga? We doubling down. It's going to be more Chicago Bears talk. In fact, we're going to be starting the show with Chicago Bears talk. We're not talking basketball. We don't hear none of that basketball bullshit. We here for real football. That's the talk we're going to give y'all. If you're looking for stats, if you're looking for real analysis, if you're looking for, advanced stats, this is not the show for you. So I would turn this shit off right now. Go watch your NFL countdown or whatever bullshit you be watching on Sundays. This is the stuff we're going to be talking about all season. It's your boy Scott, Barbershop Network, H&B Media TV. I'm not going to hold you. Season 5. Tune in September 6th. I think also, too, Ryan Poles might be holding his hat on, which is not a good thing either. It's, I think when they're healthy. Like, if you look at, I think I saw a stat the other day that said Tevin Jenkins, out of 55 starts, he's only played like 28 or some shit like that. Like, he's very much a question mark as well. Nate Davis, like, we spoke to him not too long ago. He was basically up there not saying shit. And, like, so he's got so many different question marks. I think the only one I can look at that's probably not a question mark right now would probably be Darnell Wright, and he's only coming into his second year. So there's definitely a lot of question marks with that as well. We talking about the defensive line. Austin Booker, that's someone who got a lot of raw talent, So I kind of feel like it's boom or bust there. He could be really, really good. He could be really, really not. But I don't think you should be able to bet all of that on there. And I feel like, if I don't know what the Matthew Judon thing was, why they said no or not, but I really do believe they need somebody else because Tez had a great second half to the. Well, he had a great season. Period. He was killing in Washington as well, but when you have more time to plan for him, and now you know that he's probably the only one who's going to 100% get to the quarterback, it's going to be a lot easier to game plan for the Bears. Now, you're hoping for the younger guys to burst out. You're hoping for Gervon Dexter to have a big year. But I feel like you need to get somebody up there. And there's some fans like, we're still a year away. It's the NFL. If you have a chance, go for it. Because I know Detroit got hella injuries right now. Yeah. Jahmyr Gibbs, they don't know if it's an ACL or a hamstring. They're doing real right, going back and forth on that. Their secondary is beat the hell up. If you have even a small chance, go all the way in. I think that's what Ryan Poles knows what he has to do, and I feel like that's why he was in the Matthew Judon talks. Who knows if he's trying to get in on Hassan Reddick? We don't know what he's doing, but I definitely feel like there's one piece away from me taking him seriously like that.
Right. Last play schedule, you go after that now.
Yeah,
you have what you have right now. Last play schedule, you have one of the top 5 weakest schedules in the NFL. NFL is one of those leagues where you could go from worst to first quickly. The NFL is not one of those leagues where you say we're a year away, so maybe. No, you got Caleb. You have a Caleb who's probably better than the quarterback that you had last year, and you went 7-10 and could have went 10-7. No, the time is now.
Oh, he's not probably. He is better because if he was probably better, Justin Fields would still be a Chicago Bear.
That's true.
They made that move because they saw a clear upgrade. But to play devil's advocate, we are all fans here. All 4 of us are fans here, and every year the fan base, when football comes, every year every person thinks, unless you're a Panthers fan, they think that their team has a shot.
Shout out to Carolina.
It's Ryan Poles and it's Ian Cunningham's job not to go all in and to have that fan hat in. Yeah. Next year, I believe they have 9 draft picks. I believe they still have $21 million left on the cap space this year for a move. They have to use it because it's one of those use it or lose it. So is he saving that for the trade deadline? Is he saving that for an extension? I think with him, he's still taking a calculated approach because they're not in a window. They're in year 1 of a rookie quarterback with several draft picks in Brisker, Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, Gervon Dexter, Zach Pickens, with Roshan Johnson, obviously, if he could be on the field. They're taking the slow approach, because what have they said from the moment they were hired? Sustained success. Sustained success. So I think that he's teetering between kind of going all in from what he sees now or being calculated in the measure. So Scott Pioli, the ex-GM for the Kansas City Chiefs, he was actually at Halas Hall the last couple days.
Me and her met him yesterday. Remember, he walked past us yesterday.
Yeah. So
look at you, I met Scott Pioli.
So Scott Pioli jumped on, I believe it was on CBS, and he said that he was actually in the room with Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham when they were talking to New England with the Matthew Judon situation. Okay. And he said that they were fully comfortable going with the 3rd round pick, but they weren't comfortable where the snag was the money with the contract situation. Now, there have been reports coming out of Atlanta that Matthew Judon is going to play on the $6.5 million base salary that he has now, and that they're not going to engage in conversation with the contract extension. I think it's going to kind of be something like, play 2 games, let us see you're healthy, and then we'll sign you.
Yeah,
but
like
it seemed as if Ryan Poles wasn't ready to go to that contract length for a 32, 33-year-old defensive end that's coming off of a torn bicep.
Yeah, come off a torn bicep. Yeah. He only had 4 sacks last year because of the injury. But kind of moving on to what we
want to make one last comment of what Mikey was talking about with, the hope, the delusion, that kind of double aspect. If there is a group of people within an organization that cannot afford to be delusional about their chances, it's the front office. Yeah. Like, if there was a tier ranking, the people who get to be the most delusional are the fans first, the players, then the coaches, then the front office. The front office has to be realistic and say, this is not a truly competing team yet, but there's a formulation of what can be competing. And if I'm looking at the defensive line and the offensive line and the linebacker core and so on and so on and forth, this isn't a team that can win yet. They're solid, but it's not a team you can win with yet. And that's why I don't think this can be solved with free agency and just trying to go all in. You got a lot of draft picks. You need to continue to build. Like, maybe Javon Dexter isn't the guy, but maybe he becomes a good depth piece. Because Lord knows I'm not sure if Zach Pickens is. But if you keep your mindset of being realistic about where your chances are, which unfortunately the Bears have not been. It's kind of think, we're better than we are, we can win. We're better than we are, we can win. Rather than, you know what, let's sustain this. Let's wait. We don't have it just yet, but we possibly will if we keep slow and steady.
Well, wait till my delusion kicks off at the end of this show.
and I agree with you on that, Flows, just off the strength of, that's why I said, I feel like they're two pieces away on both sides of the line, because they're starting to build this team with high draft picks. The whole secondary is basically a second round picks. Right. Javon Dexter and Zach Pickens, both 2nd round picks. Now, if you can go and get a legitimate three tech defensive tackle, somebody like, we'll just say a DeForest Buckner type, right? Now you have a Javon Dexter, somebody who's young, somebody with upside coming in as that rotational piece. Those are the teams that normally, like I said, I keep looking back at the Eagles of a few years ago. They were running 6, 7, 8 guys out there. Yeah.
Deep line.
And people forgot they even had Robert Quinn. He wasn't even being used. And he had 16, 17 sacks the year before with us. So that's what the good teams that make noise in late January and get to play in February, they just have guys that can consistently rotate. And as much, delusion as we're going to get into, the Bears are on the right path, but they're not there yet.
And Poles will know that, too, coming from the Kansas City organization. I think that's something, Joe, we was talking about even at camp. It was a whole bunch of media members like, fuck a Super Bowl. You hope that happens, but more than anything, you want to be in it every year. If you look at the entire, outside of the 80s, the 80s, I feel, is like the modern golden era of the Bears, where they made 4 or 5 NFC championship games, won a Super Bowl. It's been a year here and a year there. You get 2001, and you get, walked down by Donovan. And you don't get nothing else till 2005.
They're a pop-up shop.
Was 2001 the infamous Peanut Tillman left?
No, that was 2005.
No, 2001 is when 2001 is when they were.
Donovan walked them down.
Yeah, 2001 was Donovan walked them down. That was when we were playing in Champaign.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, no, that was
after. That was next year.
That was the
last game before they started doing them shitty ass renovations. And then 05 was the Peanut Tillman game.
Who was that? Was that you who was watching?
Me and Mike was me and the homie Mike. We ordered some pizza. By the time we got into the kitchen, Peanut Tillman was already flying on the fucking floor to the end zone. It was the Peanut Tillman game. That's what that was. Steve Smith, and then next year they went to the Super Bowl, and then they do shit in 2010. So like they need to have sustained success. Like you hope you get into the you hope you win a Super Bowl, but if you in the conversation, that means you're going down there. And shout out to Scott Pio. He had on the HBCU shirt yesterday, which yeah, shout out them for that. But
Shout
let's
out
talk
to for the bare minimum.
right, the bare minimum for wearing the shirt. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Scott back here. I'm not gonna hold you, Chicago Bears preview special. Here with friend of the program, my dog Herb Howard.
What's good, bro?
Of the Bigs, man. What's going on, brother?
Ain't nothing to it, man. Dog days of camp, right?
Dog days of camp, indeed. We are ready for this shit to be over. But, man, what's been your feel, man, through this camp? I know this is camp number 3 for me. I don't know what number of camp is it for
4.
you? 4 for you. Because has a vibe been a little different to you compared to, like, you know, say last year's camp?
Yeah, I think it's a little different. I think they got more top-end talent at a lot of key positions. I think they understand that. Also, I think the defense is just taking another step forward, another year together. The chemistry is real, real good on the back end. They got playmakers at every level. So I think they just feel more optimistic about what they can do, and it feels more real than just, you know, everybody's hopeful at this time of year.
Right.
They seem realistic about their chances of being real good.
What's your impression of Caleb Williams so far? I know when you came on the show like a couple months ago, you was like, man, still I want to keep Justin, which we all understand. Has your opinion changed a little bit? I know it's still early. We ain't seen him play an actual game yet, but what do you think about Caleb so far?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say my opinion has changed because it was never really anything negative about Caleb. That was never really my stance. I just preferred the path of getting Justin Fields, getting the multiple picks, getting Marvin Harrison Jr. It wasn't a Caleb versus Justin thing, but people lose nuance all the time.
Right.
I think Caleb has been exactly what we heard he would be, right? The ability to come in, have great leadership, have poise. I thought we got to saw that in that very first that first preseason game that he played against the Buffalo Bills. Poise in the pocket, his ability to get out on the edge, make plays with his arms, saw his ability to make plays with his legs as well. He's got all the arm talent in the world, different arm angles. He's able to make all the throws on the field. So I think he's been as advertised. I think his teammates like him. Some of the things we heard early about, you know, his personality, those turned out not to be true in terms of the diva shit and all that. That was never really the case with him. So I think he's been really, really good coming in not only as a teammate but as a player.
Let's talk about the number one reason that we're all here. Mr. Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams has been, I think, like the number one prospect.
4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns.
Okay, we gonna get there.
Just wanted to say.
Been the number one prospect for years. Like, you know, ever since, you know, he came off the bench in Oklahoma. I mean, people knew about him before that. Winning the Heisman at USC. USC didn't have a great year last year, but he still had a pretty good year. Went through a lot of adversity last year as well. And then he got drafted. I think he's been doing pretty well. Like, from what I've seen in camp, it's much different when I saw it. And this is no disrespect to Justin, but how many deep passes did we see last camp? Like 3? The entire fucking camp? Like 3?
They was all on Instagram.
Right, exactly. Like last year, you can look at the Bears, like, yeah, they were forcing that one. These weren't actually forced. Like, it just looks different. So I want to talk about what a successful season would be for Caleb, even before we get into the actual numbers. Bane, what do you think would be a successful season for Caleb Williams?
Well, let the delusion begin. I don't think this is delusion. It's 17 games in the season, right?
17.
All right, 4,000 yards. We ain't never had that, right? 4,000 divided by 17 is like 235. I'm not a math whiz, but I did the calculations on my phone before we started this. So Bears fans are used to having a quarterback that's throwing like 175. And we like, oh, that was a good game. So, nah, man, I think 4,000 yards is definitely a possibility. I see a couple of 300-yard games in my man Future, and I think that he could be real consistent with the 235. So I'm going to go with 4,000-plus yards, about 25 touchdowns. I'll say about 10 interceptions, and I think he'll win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
By the way, if you go back to an old episode of I'm Not Gonna Hold You, I said 10 interceptions, and him and Dante wanted to fucking kill me.
We did.
When I said 10 interceptions. I'm going to say...
But I'm with you now. I'm with you. Look at me. We're in the middle.
We here now. I'm going to say... I'm going to go 3,800. I think 3,800 is a good prediction. I'm going to say 28 passing touchdowns. I think he's going to run about 4 or 5 of them shits, and I'm going to say about 10 interceptions. I think, if anything, more than the actual record, I want to see what I haven't seen from a Bears quarterback. Outside of just the stats, but I want to see. I've never in my entire life as a Bears fan seen a Bears quarterback drop back, throw the ball, and I don't have heart palpitations. Like, I want to be able to breathe normally, like a regular human being, when I watch my quarterback throw the fucking football. Now, in practice, I've been doing that. It's been pretty good. Now, we got to see that in game. Now, that's the biggest thing for me. If he can go out there, if we can leave this season, no matter what the record is, and say, you know what, we finally got him. That, to me, is a successful season for Caleb Williams outside of the numbers. But that's where I got the numbers at. Mikey, where do you see, what consider a good season for you for Caleb?
Well, outside of the individual statistics, what I'm looking for is really the eye test. I want to see. We can all see it with our eyes. We saw it with Justin. We saw it just didn't look right. Yeah. For me, a successful season for Caleb Williams, or what I'm looking for, is that in Week 11 in November, when we play our first divisional game with the Packers, that he looks better than he looked Week 2, Week 3, Week 5, Week 6. Yeah. I just want to see growth through each game. And you guys have been there, obviously, covering the team. And that's something that Flus has been saying, that he's getting better and better each week, whether it was with the cadence. I know going into the Bengals game, the focus is going to be just more on footwork and, just getting all of those kinks out and being better, because they do have a very backloaded, tough schedule with the division. The good thing with that is so do the rest of the opponents in the division. I think the Packers play an early game with the Vikings, but the Lions
got a tough schedule.
Yeah, but the Lions and everything in the back too. The Lions have it towards the back end. So for me, I just want to see growth, that he's gotten better from the first half, September and October, when we get into the real games in November. And as we just get into the statistics, I've been consistent with this. You can go back on every episode. I said 26 touchdowns, 3750 as far as passing yards, because I'm not going to be foolish. I think he can easily throw for 4,000 with these weapons, but this is still Chicago. This is still going to run the ball. They paid DeAndre Swift. It
still gets cold as shit.
It still gets cold as shit. DeAndre Swift is still going to be on the team, so I expect carries there. I expect Caleb to rush a couple. And, they're going to use their backs. Obviously, we know that they're getting creative with Velus. You still got Khalil Herbert. So I'll give them 27 touchdowns, 3750. Clearly the offensive player of the year for rookies. And the picks, I think he's gonna have a little Jay Cutler in him early.
Hopefully it's not year one, Jay Cutler.
I think we might see double-digit picks. But like I said, I'm cool with a two TD to one interception ratio.
In this era, as long as you don't throw more than 15 picks, I'm fine. Yeah. Like, once you get past 15, you get into the Jameis range. Yeah. Like, we can keep it 15, in between 15 and 10, I'm cool on that.
I'm going to say probably for yards, I'm thinking 36, 25 above everything. I'm fine. Touchdowns, you need 25 plus. Now, in my head, I firmly believe he could pass for 4,000 yards. And I think we probably need to stop looking at 4,000 yards as just this impenetrable barrier. Mm-hmm. Because Caleb Williams has passed for 4,600 yards in a shorter season in college. So it's not like this is not something that he's used to.
Take your time, Pastor.
It's not like it's something he's not used to. Now, what intrigues me is that I am not sure how many interceptions he will have, because he's never really been a person who throws a lot of interceptions, whether it's high school or college. I don't think he's ever thrown over 10. And I don't know if that's his tendency to throw that
many. Like 5 last year.
Yeah, 5 or 6, something like that. Whereas someone like Patrick Mahomes, he's going to throw some picks. That's just who he is. But he's still going to throw 40 touchdowns to go with it. So I'm not sure. If he has under 12, I'm fine. But I'm not sure if he'll throw it. To be safe for what's in my head, I'm probably going to assume he throws for about 23 touchdowns and like 6 interceptions. I think that's a really solid stat. But if he throws only 23, he needs to get 4,000 yards.
I don't think he's going to have those dickhead interceptions. I don't think that's what
Cutler had them dickhead soul-crushing interceptions.
Mahomes, like, he gets in a mode. It's typically not in the fourth quarter.
Sometimes he get real pill Favre on
exactly. But he does that before it's the fourth quarter. Before the fourth quarter, he will just say, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to try to and fit that
when
throw.
Favre had the goatee. When we pill Favre era, yeah.
It's like when Jordan Love threw that, like, game-sealing pick in the playoffs.
To Dre Greenlaw in the playoffs?
That's not a pick I'm going to assume Patrick Mahomes.
He threw that like Uncle Rico.
Like, that's not a Patrick Mahomes pick, and I don't think Caleb throws that type of pick either.
Yeah, I think the picks that we'll see from him are just going to be him adjusting to the
coverage.
windows, the coverage. And
you almost threw one against Buffalo.
that was my point right there. And working with the rookie wide receiver, just kind of like getting that connection down there.
And you kind of saw somebody on Hard Knocks when he was telling Rome, like, you got to hit this a different way.
And I like that. And I like that. But just to kind of give y'all some background on like rookie quarterbacks that have gone 1-1 over the last 10 years. So I kind of did some research on that just to kind of see.
Of course, like cold hard facts.
As far as the yardage and the touchdowns, because we'll get into this. You know, I'm a degenerate. We'll get into the gambling picks later. But FanDuel currently has Caleb Williams at 3,500.5 passing yards with an over-under of 22.5 touchdowns. Now, since 2015, there have been 7 QBs taken number 1 overall. So as we go from most recent to 2015, Bryce, no, he didn't clear that at all.
Hell no.
Trevor Lawrence had 3,600 in his rookie year, but only 12 TDs, which is kind of crazy.
Trick off trail.
There we go.
Now, Joe Burrow, he only played 10 games that year, and he had 2,688. But his very next year, we know what he did as a full-time starter, 4,600, 34 TDs.
Damn, it was 4,600?
4,611 and 34 TDs.
Oh, I'm be delusional today, y'all. I'm telling y'all.
Now, this is where I think we're getting more into the style of quarterback that Caleb Williams is. I almost said Justin Fields. Almost fucked up. Caleb Williams is Kyler Murray, 37-72, and he had 20 TDs. Baker Mayfield, as a rookie, had 37-25 and 27 TDs. Now, that is kind of my barometer for him.
A couple off from the record. The record was what? Was it Herbo? Was it?
Yeah.
It was 30?
Yeah, it was 30. Right. Jared Goff. He only started 7 games as a rookie, but the very next year he had 38 and 28 TDs. And then Jameis Winston came in and threw for 4,022 TDs. So
dickhead passer for sure.
Jameis isn't a dickhead quarterback Hall of Fame.
Fuck it. Mike Evans down there somewhere.
But but he had the mentality that I love about him is the same mentality that Jay Cutler has, which is I don't really give a shit if I throw.
And that's what you need. Jay would throw 4 picks and not give a fuck.
It does not matter.
Yeah.
That was Justin Fields' downfall. He was too scared.
He was too scared. Throwing picks.
But for a good period, he had coaches who were also afraid of him throwing those same picks.
Now, the difference is between all of those quarterbacks you just named and Caleb is the team that they have around them. Right. And you have a team that, as I said earlier, was 7-10, and they were a minute and a half of being 10-7. And from what you guys have said and what I've seen in online and in the newspapers, this defense is looking real good. So this team is going to have an opportunity, if everything goes well, to continue to give him the ball back. And I think that when we have this conversation, that's what we have to be mindful of too. If this is going to be an opportunistic defense, then this defense is going to give the offense more possessions. And if they get that, there's going to be more chance to score the ball. So when I make my prediction, I'm making it off of the teams that they're playing. Have these teams improve? Those games before the division games, I don't really see a team that's just mightily improved on defense. And then, with Minnesota having their issues already with health, I believe that he can start off this year extremely fast and really get out there where his confidence is sky high. I just hope that when he goes up against Green Bay and when he goes up against Detroit, that it doesn't get stunted. Yeah. But because of the offense that he comes in with and the teams that he's playing, I think, and the defense being opportunistic, I think this has a chance to be very special.
And I think also that's a good thing about him being against this Bears defense in practice, because the thing that I said, again before Buffalo, is that was one of the worst weeks of practice I've seen in camp. Like, I was really worried about going in that game, and Caleb the entire offense looked in sync, which tells you just how good this Bears defense is, that they've been having battles in camp. Then when he plays other defenses, and that was their first team defense out there for Buffalo, then it looked more smooth. So I think that'll help as well. But one thing from Caleb, last year with the Trojans, that was a bad year. And, the Trojans are LA's pro team.
Bad year for him?
No, I'm talking for the team.
Well, yeah.
For the team. And that is LA's pro team. And he went through some shit last year. Now, is it going to be compared to shit he goes through here? Absolutely fucking not.
Like his he went through some shit is like 5 picks. It's not really great.
No, I'm talking about a team, not his play
you gotta remember, this is probably, Caleb Williams is probably going on to this being the team with the best defensive that he's probably ever played with.
Yeah, 100%.
Through college and probably high school, because those Trojan teams were giving up like 42 points.
That game against Colorado wasn't like 50-45, some shit
Listen,
like that.
I was in the crib I had money on them to beat Cal. Of all schools, Cal. And Cal was running it up on them. Look it up. It was like a 48-47 game. And I was like, Caleb his ass. Caleb his ass.
Put up on their ass.
Oh, I mean, Utah used to go crazy on them.
Yeah, so this is definitely going to be the best one for that, man. Right now, I'm joined by the one and only Adam Johns, senior writer for the Athletic Chicago, and also one half of the Hogan Johns podcast, man.
Better half.
The better half. Glad to have you back on the show, man. Definitely. How you been?
Good, man. It's good to be here.
Good. It's when y'all see this, camp will be over, but we're here like in the dog days of camp. You've done. This is my third camp. I know you've done a lot more than me, but what has been the vibe to you from this camp compared to last year's?
Last year's, compared to last year's, I think there's actually more energy, and I think that, if you have Caleb Williams, the energy is going to be way up, significantly better. Keenan Allen, I just think the vibe around the team is very good. It actually reminds me of some of the better teams. And I have to go back to Bourbonnais, so I'm going to show my age a little bit. But, like, the 2018 team had a good vibe about it. You didn't know they're going to be as good as they were, but the vibe was good. And you go back before that, even like Mark Trestman's Bears, which were competitive teams, a lot of offensive firepower, but the vibe was competitive and good. Now, the atmosphere is a lot different in Bourbonnais. The fans are right on top of you, so I think we miss that every other day here up at Lake Forest. But just in terms of the vibe, the talent, it reminds me of some of those better teams that I've covered.
Yeah, and I think even the difference, well, at least for me, from looking before this, I was from a fan perspective, like, we haven't seen this amount of offensive talent.
Yeah.
At least in my time being a Bears fan, I never saw this amount on here. But what has it kind of been like, to see the national, view of it? Because we've been having a lot of national people here. CBS was just here. NFL Network did stuff. Hard Knocks, obviously. Is it kind of weird to see, like, all the spotlight on the Bears now?
You got the first pick. So, like, naturally, they're going to come here. And I think the Bears themselves are such an intriguing storyline because it's the Chicago Bears. There's no other team like it. And we've seen media come down to different locations. I think with Caleb Williams, there's a special quality to it because he's a special player, or he can be a special player because we've seen it in college. We've seen glimpses of it here in camp, and I think we'll see it when the regular season begins. But it's there. Everybody knows it's there. He's the first pick for many reasons, those special reasons. So I think that brings out the extra attention from a lot of folks across the country.
Outside of quarterbacks, one thing the Bears have also had a hard time with is hiring good coaches. Like, outside of, I'm not even going to say George Halas, because that's like, that's when black people couldn't drink out the same water fountains as white people. So it's like, what do we even talk about? But, like, in the modern era, you got, Mike Ditka, you got Lovie Smith. Outside of that, you got as many misses at coach as you got at quarterback.
Dick Duran was a special coach.
Dick Duran or Wani, what he said, he got an ankle. Like, you got all these random ass coaches and shit. So Matt Eberflus, I know he's been getting a lot of screen time on Hard Knocks. He got the new haircut. He's speaking to the media more, but that don't mean shit when it comes to coaching. Ben, you said this team should have won 10 games last year. Yeah. A lot of that had to do with his coaching and the decisions he made. So my question to y'all is not only on the coaching, but with the offensive coordinator. Luke Getsy was a war criminal. Like, I don't remember the last good offensive coordinator Bears had. Ron Turner was probably the decent one. He wasn't even good like that. So that's a question mark there. Who do you think there's more pressure on this season? Is it Matt Eberflus or is it Shane Waldron? Who you got?
It's easy. It's Eberflus. Yeah. Because if this team, which I don't think is going to happen, but by the small chance, hear my delusion, that the Bears are not successful, then there's a chance that he's going to come into next year as a lame duck or be gone. Do you want him to be gone and then have Caleb have to go through another offensive coordinator situation? There's a lot of questions because you didn't give him an extension, even though he has one more year left on his contract after that. But it's always the head coach is the captain of the ship, so he's always going to have the most pressure in this situation.
I'm going to actually go the other way, and this is why. I think, Joe, you said this as well, and he talks like this as well. Flus talks like a nigga who got job security. I think that Ryan Poles loves this dude for whatever fucking reason. Like, I don't have anything against Flus, but I think me and Flows have said this forever. I'm not giving no head coaches no love until I actually see it. I was the first nigga to say Matt Nagy was stealing checks. I remember in the early days of Bears Twitter, I think it was the Rams game. Shout out my man Lotto. I was at my guy Lotto's house.
Right. Was it
the
the huff off with him and
Pickathon
Golf?
with
Right,
Golf
right,
and Mitch. And I was sitting at my guy Lotto crib in Hollywood, and I was like, something off about these plays, man. Something off about these plays. He's like, nah, G, you tweaking. I'm like, something off. And each week it got progressively worse. We can sit up here double doing. If there's anybody who got away with double doing, 2 people who got away with double doing, Matt Nagy and the fucking defense. Yeah. Did Cody Parkey lose that game? No. He didn't help win it, though. I blame the bad play calling. Matt Nagy, I know I sound like I'm going on a tangent, but I'm going to bring it back home in a minute.
PTSD right now.
Matt
PTSD.
Nagy, yeah, exactly. Matt Nagy forgot he had Allen Robinson to the third quarter. And you remember that. That defense, this is the drive that pissed me off more than anything. That defense, they started at like the fucking 5. Mm-hmm. And they let Nick Foles dink and dunk they ass all the way down the 4th goal. Alshon Jeffrey, and we can sit up here and blame Mitch. Mitch did his job.
Hold on, we could talk about Bojack because he's not here right now. That fucking flutter pass in the middle of the field that Nick Foles, that
well, Bojack didn't play that game.
No.
Bojack didn't play that game. Remember, he was healthy. But
right. Yeah. No, who was it? So there was a flutter pass over the middle of the field on like 3rd and like 9.
It was PFF Ronnie Lott, as I used to call PFF Ronnie Lott, was Adrian Amos. No, because remember, Eddie Jackson had the division ceiling pick
against the Packers, and he slid.
He was in uniform, but Nagy did not play him. And so Cody Parkey, by the way, who scored 9 of the Bears' 15 points that game. Yeah. And and I'm not trying to take any blame off him, but it's kind of like Mike knows this. Who dropped the double play ball for the Cubs in 2003?
Oh, that was the shortstop.
Adrian Gonzalez.
Yep, Adrian Gonzalez.
Yeah. Everybody want to blame Bartman.
Oh no, that was that. Well, yeah, it was Gonzalez before that.
It was Gonzalez before that. Alice Gonzalez. That's what it was.
One of my cousins.
So that's what it was with that. So to bring it back to Matt Nagy, to bring it back to Matt Eberflus, is for some reason I think Ryan Poles loves this guy. And I think it's all on Shane Waldron. If Shane Waldron doesn't have this offense humming and looking like a regular offense, they're going to go back to him. I think the only way that Matt Eberflus loses his job, I'm talking they got to be bad. I'm talking about less wins than last year bad. Like, that's the only way I see. Besides that, they're going to make him the fall guy. Mikey, who do you think is more on the fence, like more of their job more on the line between Flus and Waldron?
It's Shane Waldron. I mean, I wouldn't say anybody's job is on the line because, like you said, I think Matt Eberflus has job security. Plus, Shane Waldron just walked into this. So he's getting a rookie quarterback. He'll get another year as long as it doesn't go terribly bad. But I'll say Shane Waldron because he is getting his hands on the baby from the beginning. This is his ship, and outside of, contrary to what Luke Getsy had to work with Dante Pettis and all types of Smith Marset and Justin Fields, who was still raw and a terrible. And they had to go get Jason Peters off a fucking boat in Texas at 42 years old. Like
they did put Jason Peters.
Like this team has more. Yeah. So it's on Shane Waldron to make it work because we have seen success with. Just recently with Geno Smith over in Seattle. So it is on Shane Waldron because for the first time and probably for the second time in our life, outside of the year where they had Forte, Brandon Marshall, Martellus Bennett, Alshon.
Number 2 offense in the year.
This is the first time that we've actually seen them pour into the offensive skill players like this. Like, we're talking about having potentially 3 number 1 wide receivers or 2 number 1s and a very good rookie number 2 in a rookie season. So it's on Shane Waldron. As long as they don't stumble out the gate like they did last year, like we can go back to week 1 last year. That was a fucking embarrassment, and there was a lot of hype.
Don't get me started on week 1.
There was a lot of hype going into that week 1 matchup. Right. It was Aaron Rodgers is no longer there. Jordan Love ain't shit. Justin Fields is gonna take the next step, and we were completely embarrassed at the 3 p.m. window. So for me. As long as they don't come out flat, I'm calling it now. They're probably going to be a team that starts off about 5-1. Eberflus is going to get that contract extension before Halloween.
Adam Schefter news.
I'm calling it right now.
Look, the thing about week 1, shout out to Tip, she in the background. We was hype. I'm talking about motherfuckers like you can smell the grills from the tailgate. Motherfucking J. Ello's playing Dirk album cuts. Like everybody was just fuck Green Bay going into it, and they got ran. Like, it was an instant down to reality. Instantly. They cannot afford that because I believe that Titans game is going to be a lot closer than what people think it's going to be. But, Joe, who do you think is more on the line a little bit?
Oh, it's Shane Waldron. And the reason I say it's Shane Waldron is simply because the question with the Bears right now isn't the defense. You assume the defense is going to be solid because they had a nice little 8-game stretch toward the end. The question is, now that you have so many more pieces on offense, what are you going to do with that? I believe Flus probably has at least 2 more years left. I don't know his contract is about off the back of my head, but he has 2 more years left of confidence of keeping his job because he coached that solid, really short stretch toward the end of the year. I'm pretty sure that keeps him in a solid position. Yeah. Shane Waldron, of course, is coming to a situation where you have the number 1 pick, a highly talented prospect at the number 1 pick, and you have so many weapons on offense. I mean, you have 2 running backs to choose from, 3 wide receivers to choose from. That's a very, very, very deep offense. Then you have 2 tight ends to choose from. That puts it in a position where if you don't have success, like top 13 in the league offensively, then it's a failure. And so the pressure has to be on him, easily.
We're with Daniel Hardy from the Chicago Bears right now. Thank you for joining me, man. Number one.
Appreciate you having me on.
No problem. Number one, man, you had a big game this past Saturday. 2 sacks, man. Tell me what kind of how that felt, getting out there, getting your first action of the season.
Fantastic. And doing it with a group of guys that you love and care about is even better, man. We got a fantastic D-line room, and it wasn't just me. I think we had like 8 sacks as a team, so everybody was eating, and that's a fantastic feeling, man, when you get to pin your ears back and get after the cue.
There's been a lot of hype coming into the season, not just for this team, but specifically the defense, coming off how it ended last year. What do you think is like the ceiling, if anything, for this defense this season?
There isn't one, man. When the group of guys with how much talent we have on the defensive side of the ball, when we get together and we're clicking and we're doing everything right, man, there's no ceiling on what we can do.
Definitely. For you personally, what specific parts of your game did you focus on this offseason?
All of it. But as always, getting to the quarterback is what gets people paid. So that's a big thing. I focused on. But really, it's you got to work on everything because you can't be too one-sided on anything because then the offense has a way to stop you. So just working on power, working on speed. Everything, IQ, all of that. So it's just it's kind of a full 360, just working and constantly trying to improve.
What's been the vibe for this team? I kind of feel like it's been different compared to past years. What's been different as far as how it feels? And do you guys feel like you have a chance win it all this year? What's it been like in the locker room?
I mean, that's nobody comes out here and works to not win a Super Bowl. So,
right.
Obviously that's everybody's end goal, but I feel like the cohesiveness is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Guys who've been here for a couple years have gelled together. The guys who have come in this off season. Have integrated really, really fast, and I feel like just the team chemistry is at an all-time. Personally, from my experience, is at an all-time high, and I love it, and I can't wait to see what we do with it.
Let's talk about in true Bears fashion, we always worried about some shit, PTSD. Let's talk about biggest concerns. We already brought up the offensive line and defensive line. Maybe there's some holes on there, but what's some things that outside of that you think might be an issue? I think for me, it's not even concern. I think it's just I have to see it, and that goes back to play calling that makes sense. I feel like the Bears ain't had a real screen game since Matt Forte. They had screens last year, but they were bad screens.
5 screens in a row.
Yeah, screens that don't make no fucking sense is what Lou Getsy did. So I need to see screens that make sense. So for me, it's play calling. You know what I'm saying? We every week we were calling Lou Getsy out of his name. In the media booth, on the podcast, on the show, we were talking about Lou Getsy every fucking week. So for me, I need to see an actual 2024 game plan from the Bears. So until I see that, that's kind of concerning. And also the usual injuries. With the NFL, it's not a matter of if there's going to be injuries. It's a matter of how many and for how long. So I think that's the biggest thing, too. I think if you look last year, Justin Fields actually, when he got hurt, it was a wrap. He didn't have the greatest start to the season. When he got hurt in, was it against Denver? That game pissed me off. But in the Denver game, when he got hurt, that kind of fucked it up for him, in my opinion, because he already needed to be perfect. So those are 2 worries for me. Mikey, what would your worries be outside of the offensive line, defensive line?
I think for me, it would be cornerback depth. And if something were to happen to Jalen Johnson, I am a big fan of Tyreek Stevenson. I think we saw a lot, and he grew in the second half of the season. But I still think he's very green. I still think he takes a lot of chances. And in this division, with the Amon-Ra St. Browns, with the Jaden Reeds, the Romeo Dobbs, the Christian Watsons, the Justin Jefferson, the Jordan Addison, as long as he could put the tequila down. I think, that's really where my concern would just kind of be secondary depth. We've already touched on the fact that the defensive line, it's going to be – they're going to really have to work to create pressure. As Eric Washington has his job set out there because it is Montez Sweat and the Who's. So if you leave them on the island out there,
Sweating the Pips.
Yeah, if you can't go ahead and get the quarterback on his ass, then you're gonna put your secondary in a tough spot. So I just think Jalen Johnson, to me, you hear it first. I'm gonna say it. I was the biggest Jalen Johnson hater.
You were.
He is the best player on the Chicago Bears. I think it would be Jalen Johnson, DJ Moore, Montez Sweat. But Jalen Johnson is the best player, and he holds everything down. When you, as a defensive-minded head coach, and Matt Eberflus and Eric Washington and those boys out there, when you already know that opposing quarterbacks aren't even going to look that way, it makes it a lot easier to go ahead and scheme and to have your coverages and to kind of let your linebackers get a little loose out there. So I think, my biggest concern would just be anything happening to Jalen Johnson, just because I'm, Terrell Smith, right? That would be the next up. He's banged up.
Jalen Jones.
Yeah, the Jalen Jones. He's banged up. Shout out Jalen Jones. We get our hair braided by the same person. Holla at me. I'll give you 10% off the next time. But, that would be the biggest thing for me. It's just something happening to Jalen Johnson because I think he's that vital for the back half of that defense.
Joe, what would your biggest concern be?
My biggest concern is a specific player. It is Jaquan Brisker.
He gets injured every play.
He got hurt right now.
I'm not sold on the fact that he is a good safety. My concern.
I said that on the show last year. I said, what does he do well?
Is that he hasn't been tested enough, and when he was tested, I think his recovery, his technique is very, very middle of the road. And now with the anticipation of other teams looking and realizing, okay, the Bears had this solid 8-game stretch of football. We're going to try to pick on certain players. We're going to try to see their strengths and see their weaknesses. I think he might be put in predicament where he might be exposed a bit. And because I'm not sold of him, he becomes my biggest concern, outside of the line, obviously. Because if I'm thinking of Kevin Byard and I'm thinking of Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, Kyler Gordon, I'm not really or even the linebacking core, Jack Sanborn, Jermaine Evans, T.J. Edwards, I'm not really concerned about any of them.
The only thing that concerns me is just Kyler Gordon's ability to stay on the field.
Yeah,
and the same could be with Jaquan, but
Kyler's shown more in the time he's playing.
Very true, but he's also been the one that has been more longer prolonged injuries.
That's true. That was also part of the reason for the Bears' slow start last year. He missed the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season.
And then, we've seen a lot of nickel in camp from the Bears, and so you're going to see Sanborn off the field, Kyler in, and you have to make sure that those 4, that your front is getting to the quarterback, because if not, Jaquan Brisker again would be put on an island. And I'm concerned because I'm not sure I've seen anything that makes me believe that he is a guy. The name is there. Bears fans love him. Bears fans think, he is the next guy. He's the next something coming. He is like the replacement for what we lost in Eddie Jackson and so on and so forth, but I'm not sure just yet.
Bojack showed out when he played, though.
When healthy.
Bojack in his prime
was
he had a really good career with the Bears.
Exactly.
Just coming off of the ACL, being drafted late. If it wasn't for that, he'd go higher. And he really did have a really good year for the Bears.
One of my favorite
He had
Bears.
a freaking nose for the ball. I remember watching that Thanksgiving game years ago where he had that game-sealing pick. And it's like he baited him, and he knew it was going to
was my favorite Bojack pick. Remember 2018, the Bears got flexed into Sunday Night Football against the Vikings. It was a big game.
Yep.
And when Joe Quenneville just got fired, but he's in the Waldron lot taking shots with Bears.
Right.
Yeah, and he had that pick of Kirk Cousins, and that's when he was like, oh, the Bears are nice this year.
I'm not Jalen Johnson, but Bojack in his prime. When the ball went up and we couldn't see the camera and you couldn't see what was going on, it was a 50-50 chance it was getting picked off or it was getting batted down. that is like something you can't really find in the safety these days. So I'm concerned with Briscoe going to have more attention on him. What will he do?
Bang, what's your biggest concern?
You know, my biggest concern is the schedule. At the beginning of the season, you have no division games, and you have a pretty weak schedule, in my opinion. But after that bye, you got Green Bay, you got Detroit, you got San Francisco. So that back half is going to tell a lot about what's going on. I'm very confident that the Bears will get to the bye with at least, at the most, 2 losses. So spoiler alert, I'm very delusional. But that back half, man, is going to be rough.
It's a gauntlet.
Yeah, it's a gauntlet. So that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about that back half of the schedule and if the team will be prepared enough to go through that. If they are, I think it's going to be a special season.
I think to add on to one of my concerns is also kind of what you said about the schedule is, to me, that first month. I think you can't go worse than 2-2. I think you can get real slipped up because you got Tennessee, such an important game to me because week 2, Sunday Night Football in Houston against the Texans. They had a really good offseason. Year 2, CJ, you on the brink of going 0-2. If you lose that fucking Tennessee game, then you got Indianapolis, which is not going to be an easy game, and you got the Rams at the crib. That's why the schedule. I know it's the easy schedule, last place schedule. This can trick you up if they're not coming out prepared, which is why I like the way the Flus has run preseason and run the camp so far. I feel like he's learned a little bit from his mistakes last year. But this team has to come out the gate, I believe, because that back half is so daunting as well.
Am I the only one that is not giving Houston Texans like the layup W?
I'm not saying they're giving them. I'm not saying
am I the only one that's
I'm not saying
like?
it's a layup.
Am I the only one that is not afraid to be like they can go to Houston?
You're not.
No.
Which we already know there's hella people from the crib down there,
It's
and
gonna
they're
be
gonna
Soldier
travel
Field
well.
South.
Am I the only person that is not just handing them this
No,
W?
I'm not saying I'm handing them W. What I'm saying, if you lose to Tennessee,
No, I understand, but I'm just
Yeah.
talking off the strength that
They can win that,
everybody is penciling in as that an L, and I
The
don't
only
think
thing that I think that's an L off bat is not off bat, but like I think probably will be an L are the Rams. I think they are the L, and I don't know if it's just
May gonna work that defense.
that's
out.
my issue is he's going to scheme them to hell
Yeah.
and he's going to expose the weaknesses I was talking about.
Yeah.
With Houston, this is year 2 for CJ. Year 2 is your down year.
Yep.
That's just
Sophomore slump.
that just always happened. It's like Pat Mahomes' his first year starting 50 touchdowns, 8 picks. And the next year, I think he still threw 30 something.
Do right 40.
But it was 30. It was like maybe 32. Mikey might get the actual stats for it, but 32 compared to 50, it's still a drop. And so CJ is coming off 23 touchdowns, 26? 26 for Pat. That's a huge fucking drop.
CJ only had 23, and
So that's a drop. And so now people, it's there is nothing like film in football. Once you have a full year of film, you know literally who they are. And the great quarterbacks didn't say it doesn't really matter. But the ones who are not great, it's a turn. And so now that the Bears have a year of CJ, I'm actually not giving them the Texans a win. My concern will be someone like Stafford and a healthy Rams.
and for
And
me,
I'm not even that. I don't want to say I'm not concerned about that game. There's Matt Stafford, there's Sean McVay, and all that. But like I said a couple of shows ago,
Cooper Kupp.
yeah. But like I said a couple of shows ago, we get to see that defense without Aaron
Now Aaron
Donald.
Donald, yeah.
I am not convinced that's. Yeah, and and they're coming here. I'm not convinced.
Not scared of Leonard Floyd?
No, hell no.
You still there?
for me, yeah.
Like, I'm not convinced that defense without Aaron Donald and Raheem
Hey,
Morris.
speaking of, I
Gonna
brought
be-
Leonard Floyd. That low-key might be a mid-season pickup for the Bears.
Oh no, he could 100%.
Yeah, I can see that.
For me, the only must-win game in the first month of the season, outside of Week 1, is that Rams game, because that Rams game will have playoff implications down the road, because you're looking at a team that you probably will be neck and neck in the wild card for.
Yeah. Historically, the Bears do good against Stafford.
And it'll be at the crib, but yeah, very true. But also, it's not like this is LA coming in December. It's
Yeah,
LA
it's
coming in
September.
September.
He's still gonna
It's still
move
it's
outside.
still gonna be nice.
Great team with Mitchell Trubisky.
That was year 1, and they also had golf.
Right.
That's different. So different.
For me, that's
He's
just
supposed
that's
to
the
be the best
biggest.
offensive coach in the league, right?
Right. That's the biggest game of the first month of the season outside of the Titans game. Titans game sets the standard for the season. If you lose, if you could tell me right now, I get the pick. I would rather take the L against the Texans just to secure that W in the NFC, just because against the Rams, just because that's going to play vital down the end of the road.
We need that Texans game.
I feel like the Texans game. What I feel where you're coming from, I do feel like because of Sunday Night Football, because everybody on the Texans did.
You got to show them.
If you coming there, Houston,
lead.
first of all, it's gonna be Soldier Field South. Let's be very clear about that. The Bears fans gonna be all up in there, and you coming there, let's just say that the defense sends CJ to hell. You know, Caleb drop a couple touchdowns. The first take is you gonna have Stephen A. Caleb Williams is the new CJ Stroud.
But not only that, Texans are gonna be their first game is a division game. They play at Indianapolis, so that's gonna be a tough game for them.
India team, like I keep that. They're a good team.
Yeah, AR-15 is gonna come out
like
with
that
a vengeance.
defense
As long
too,
as
man.
he doesn't play CTE ball,
he's
gonna be good. But the Texans have a tough game week 1, so they probably, they'll get up for their first home game of the season, Sunday Night Football against the Bears. The Bears obviously are gonna have all the hype and. It deservedly so, but they don't have an easy first game. Whereas the Bears with the Titans, that should be a comfortable win at home.
That's why week 1 is so important to me because you have to win. I don't want to put too much emphasis on the first game of 17.
Fuck that. Fuck that. They gotta win. We just discussed how flat they came out last year against Green Bay. What did we start? 0-5?
No, we started 1-4.
1-4, then 1-6. It was something disgusting.
Yeah.
You have to win at home week 1. There's no shooting bail. There's none of that fucking optimism or it's a long season. You have to
exactly that's
set
what we're
the
gonna be
tone.
saying that Monday. Oh, it's 1-17.
I'm not gonna be saying that shit.
Not me.
At 5 p.m. At 5 p.m.
Oh, I'm not gonna.
At 5 p.m. Eastern, I'm not gonna hold you. I will not be saying that shit. It will be Scott. You could. If they lose, I'm calling it right now. If they
I'm
lose,
not gonna say that shit.
If they lose week 1, I'm starting the Monday with the sound off, and my sound off is gonna be at you, Scott.
I wanted to talk about. I didn't have this on my list, but I just thought about it. In any other year, we'd be sitting up here talking about Rome Odunze as the biggest headline because he's one of the best receivers in football last year. Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr. was number 1, but I watched a lot of Pac-10 football last year. And I saw.
That's unfortunate.
Well, it was West Coast.
Because it was
time.
fucking 6 p.m. over there.
Yeah,
it was 11 o'clock in Miami for me.
It was 6 p.m. we was watching a lot of Washington games, but we all wanted him on the team, and I think he's in an interesting situation because I feel he's going to be the most open he's ever been in his entire life, and I'm talking about going back to Pop Warner. Like Rome, he went to a high school, Bishop Gorman. That's like the fucking NFL high schools. Like they had they got NFL style locker
That's the Oak Hill. That's the Oak Hill
like
for
the
NFL.
Oak Hill.
Hold on. Mater D.
Yeah.
And St. John Bosco are the ones that are like that the Oak Hill.
No, ain't
There's
Mater D
Gorman's
for
Coda.
quarterbacks, right?
Yes.
That's quarterbacks.
Bishop Gorman up there though.
Yeah, but I mean, who's the person? I think St. John Bosco won the Natty last year, and before that was Mater D. Before that it was
They
Mater
in the
D.
top 3.
Before that it was St. John
They
Bosco.
in the top 3. But like he okay, well you get the point. But he's gonna be the most open he's ever been. He's playing with 2 probably walking Hall of Famers in Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. And so to me, I feel like if you look at with Keenan Allen, which it feels like such a long time ago now. We were wondering who the fuck are the Bears gonna get a receiver. Like, we need help for DJ Moore, and you went out there and trade for Keenan Allen. I feel Keenan Allen's future depends on Rome Odunze's year. If Rome comes out there, has a great year, I think Keenan Allen's out there. If Rome has maybe a little rookie struggles or something like that, then I think you might see Keenan on a short 2, maybe 3-year deal, reasonable deal for him. He stays long term.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Mikey. As the resident degenerate of the I'm Not Gonna Hold You show on the Barber's Chair Network, I got some of my favorite plays for the Chicago Bears this year for the season. So hopefully we can make some money, get in on some of these futures. My first one that I really like right now, the win total for the Bears is at 8.5. It's gotten juiced up to -160. So for my newbies, you have to throw $160 to win 100. That's too high for me. I want to try to get you guys some money elsewhere. So the first bet that I like is the Bears to make the playoffs at -110. Last year, there were 2 teams that made the playoffs with 9 wins. The Packers as a wild card and the Tampa Bay Bucks winning their terrible division with 9 wins. The rest of the teams require 10 wins or more to get in. I think we're looking at a 10-win Bears season this year, so I like them to get in through the playoffs at -110 instead of taking that win total bet. A little too juiced up for me. The second bet I like, we all know why we're here, is Caleb Williams. It's the Caleb Williams show. So right now, Caleb Williams' passing yardage is set at 3,500.5. That means he needs to throw for 3,501 yards for your bet to cash over on FanDuel. It's listed at -112. Over the last 10 years, there have been 6 quarterbacks that have been drafted number 1 overall. 4 of those quarterbacks have hit that number. I think Caleb Williams, with the improved offense with DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Gerald Everett, DeAndre Swift, and Rome Odunze, I think he clears this easily. So we're going to go ahead and take that. This is the one right. This one's decent right here. The second bet that we're going to take here is Caleb Williams over 22.5 passing touchdowns. Rushing touchdowns do not count on this, so be mindful of that while you're tracking your bet. But I really do like Caleb Williams to go over 22.5 passing touchdowns this year. Shane Waldron, 59% of his play calling while he's with the Seattle Seahawks is pass plays. Just for reference, Geno Smith, his first year with Shane Waldron, had 4,200 yards and 30 TDs. In his second year, he had 36, 24, and 20 TDs. I think that this is a much improved offensive skill set room. I will take this room over DK, Tyler, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. So we're going to take Caleb Williams over 22.5 passing yards. And if you want to get really frisky with it, this is one that I like. It's a season-long bet. It's one that you're going to have to pay attention to every single game. It's at plus $2,100. So you throw a hundo, it wins you $2,100. The Chicago Bears to score 1 passing touchdown in each game. Now, this might be a little, tricky. Knowing us, we like to run the ball. But Caleb Williams, throughout his career, he had at least 1 passing touchdown in USC. And while Geno Smith was quarterbacking the Shane Waldron offense, he got pretty close to doing this. In 2022, he went only 2 games without a passing touchdown, and that was against some stiff competition. Both games were against the Niners, and we know how that defense could be. And in 2023, he went 3 games without it. I think with this offense, Caleb Williams is going to have his opportunities. We already know that this team right now is kind of struggling in the red zone. That's what we saw through preseason. I think when it gets tight, they're going to go ahead and use their veteran wide receiver in Keenan Allen to kind of get free and get loose. So why not throw a little, throw a little lunch money on it to try to see if they can go ahead and go the full year with Caleb Williams scoring at least, or the Bears at least, because it can count. It could be anybody that could throw a passing touchdown. But the Chicago Bears to record 1 passing touchdown in every single game this year. Stay tuned to the I'm Not Gonna Hold You show weekly as we continue to put out bets. I know I got a lot of my people that like parlays. I got my people that like singles. If you're a single bettor, that is how you're going to get paid long term. If you like the parlay long shots, those are always fun, for a couple dollars. But the best way to make money long term gambling is to take straight bets. And I got a lot of them coming for y'all this year. So pay attention to the show. Tomorrow on Friday on our opening show, I'm going to have some other bets for the rest of the season for different teams across the league. So holla at your boy.
Bane, what do you expect to see from Rome Odunze this year?
I expect him to give corners hell, especially if he's going to be playing in the inside. Like, the man faster than you think. That man can high point a ball. And if he's going to be playing in the inside, he's going to be giving nickels hell. So I expect, I won't say monster year, but he's going to open it up to the point where I think more than anything, Cole Kmet is going to benefit a lot from what happened to Rome, because we already know you can't double the other two. Moore, you can't do that. You can't do that with Allen, because Allen is going to basically just walk into a first down. But man, Cole in that middle, Gerald Everett in that middle, that screen game, Rome is going to have so much of an impact on that because of where he sits on that offense.
Joe, what do you think is going to happen with Rome this year? What do you think be like a good year for him, or do you think he can actually meet the potential?
If Caleb is out there throwing like over 3,800 yards, then I think a good solid middle for him is 600 to 700 yards. That's a good year.
He's at 675 right now is what they have him at.
Yep. That's a solid year. Like, that's a good year. And if he has that year, still, I don't know if that's enough for me to say move on to Keenan. Keenan, was he 31?
Keenan's, 31.
31. I still think he has like a solid 3 years left in him. Now, if Roman's out there and it's like 3 receivers who get 1,000 yards, then no, I'm going to move on from Keenan. But 675, 700 yards, yeah, that's a good year for him, absolutely.
Mikey, what you think?
I kind of want to take the other side. I want Bears fans to have just a little caution and just a little patience with Rome Odunze. Obviously, I haven't been at camp like you two have, so I don't know where the relationship is going. You know, Flows, you told me that he really does try to incorporate Rome Odunze. But I think when you have 2 alphas, 2 legitimate established number ones, and DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, 2 safety blankets, I think it would behoove Shane Waldron to draw plays to get them the ball. To draw, to make it easier for Caleb to go ahead and move those chains. So I think, especially in the era that we live in now with Twitter and everybody saying after, a first half, so-and-so is ass.
He's washed.
Please do not have buyer's remorse, because you are going to see Marvin Harrison Jr. highlights weekly. You are going to see Malik Neighbors go fucking crazy, because
you're going to see Malik Neighbors get open and not be thrown to.
Right. That's what
you will be very fine.
Daniel Jones throwing to the opposing defense.
You will be very fine.
Neighbors like,
yeah.
I think with Rome, I'm going to take the slow and steady approach. I'm not going to it sounds amazing as a Bears fan to take a pick, take a wide receiver in the top 10 and me say, tranquilo, don't worry, go ahead and chill, because I know DJ and Keenan are going to do their thing. But I expect big things from Rome going forward. Yeah. I have been saying since we traded for Keenan Allen, I don't think Keenan Allen is long for Chicago unless we hoop.
The team wants him there, though.
Unless they hoop and the money makes sense. But as we've talked about, I think that money could be better allocated on O-line, D-line. I think, possibly, major on O-line, because if Tevin Jenkins doesn't stay healthy, then you got to go get a left guard. If Braxton Jones isn't that guy, you got to get a left tackle. Yeah, left tackle. If Nate Davis is Nate Davis, then you got to get a right guard. You're going to probably need to you probably got to restructure TJ Edwards if he hoops the way he did. So I think that the money can be spent better if Rome Odunze is who they think he is, and why Ryan Poles was so adamant and eager. Ian Cunningham had to tell him, yo, chill, bro, to not trade up and get him. Yeah. I think Rome will be just fine. I don't know if it's going to be in year 1 where we see him splash like all the other rookie wide receivers just because of the situation, but I have no worries in Rome Odunze. And like Bang said, it's very rare for a team to have, 3 number 1 wide receivers. It's even more rare for teams that have 3 number 1 cornerbacks. It's an
embarrassment of riches.
And you're not going to run into teams that have 3 number 1 cornerbacks. They will go ahead and find that weak spot and attack him with Rome.
I think that even outside of the Rome thing, I think one of the, I won't say X factor, but one of the surprises, I think Tyler Scott's going to have a nice year. And what I mean by a nice year, not nothing like 500, 600 yards, nothing like that. But I think he can be a little fake deep threat.
Like Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, like exactly. Like there might be a play where like the defense is so focused now. He has to catch the fucking ball. Right? He has to catch the fucking ball.
That's that virgin blood.
He has to catch the fucking ball. I mean, Justin left 3 touchdowns on the board because he couldn't hold on to the fucking ball. So he has to do that. But I feel like he's had a real good camp as well. Let's go back to the defense. Last year, they had the number 2 best rushing defense in the entire league. They really picked up steam, passing defense wise towards the end of the season. I think they had like 22 interceptions or some shit like that. Bang, what do you think is how good can this defense be this year?
I think they could be top 5. The one thing about a defense that I don't necessarily see people talk about is the confidence that the offense gives them. So if this offense is as decent, I'm going to say decent, is advertised, then I believe that this defense could be a top 5 defense. Because just like I said earlier, I believe that the offense is going to get the ball more often because the defense is going to play well. When you're scoring, we're not used to seeing the Bears offense scoring like 25 points.
Hell no.
So man, when you see your offense scoring, oh shit, it's fun out here. and I think they have the potential. It all depends on what happens on that defensive line. But I do think they have that potential because of the confidence that the offense is going to give them. When you know that you have an offense that can score 25 or more, it's going to make you play a lot more looser with a lot more confidence. And you might see that, especially again, when you look at the teams that the Bears play for the first couple of weeks of the season.
And that's a funny thing, too, because how many Bears teams we seen where the Bears defense has to be fucking perfect?
And you don't have to now.
It has to be fucking perfect. Like, it could be a game where they only gave up 21 points. And we're looking like, well, they didn't have a good last drive.
You play better when you don't have to play perfect.
Yeah.
You play more loose, and now you get to have fun down here.
And I think if you see Caleb and them putting up points, like you said, it's going to be like, oh, it's cracking out here. Let's knock a couple of these niggas out real quick. And I think that'll help a lot. Mikey, what do you think? How good do you think this defense? You think it can be top 5? You think it's like elite type of caliber here?
I think it's hard to put them in top 5 without having a legitimate secondary pass rusher opposite Montez Sweat. I was a big advocate for them going and signing Daniil Hunter or my man from Texans. What was his name? Jonathan Grenard. Yeah. I wanted them to go ahead and add somebody opposite of that, and they didn't. I wanted them to address it in the draft. They didn't. So kind of like you were saying, it's a little short-sighted. My man jumped in the shower. Forgot to, and put on his shoes first. So I think it's very hard to put a team top 5 without having that secondary force. Now, things can change, as we saw last year. He went and he pounced on somebody on a team that was bad, that was coming into a contract year, and he went and snagged Montez Sweat. I think that we still have that availability with the $21 million in cap space, with the extra second-round pick from the Panthers. So that will remain to be seen, but I think it's very hard to put them there. I think they're also due for some regression in the turnover department, the takeaway department, because you cannot count on that. We saw that in 2018 when the Bears had like a record for as many takeaways than they had. In the very
2019, they couldn't shit.
Exactly, because you can't account for that. Yeah. That shit is being in the right place at the right time, and that's also just luck and opportunity.
I think the only time we saw it like carry over was the entire Lovey era.
Yes,
that was their bread and butter.
Because he preached that. He preached run to the ball.
Which I will say this, not to cut you off, that's something we've been hearing in camp. Like turnovers. I think you even saw a little bit of Hard Knocks where they got a turnover. Eric Washington's like more.
100%. And that's so. I remember my first time really paying attention to a Matt Eberflus run defense was when Nick Foles was the starting quarterback and the Indianapolis Colts came to Chicago and they beat us here in Soldier Field. They were running to the fucking ball.
Yeah. And they had everybody. That defense was a top 5 scoring defense.
Yeah. That's when they had. That was when it was.
That was when Shaquille Leonard just started snapping off.
That was when he was Shaquille, not Darius. You know what I'm saying? Before he lost his superpowers. So like that, and that's where you saw what a Matt Eberflus defense looked like: long, rangy, run to the ball. So for me, I would say
that was crazy.
That was crazy. That was crazy.
Hold on, man. First off, hold on. First off, we are not from fucking New York. Leave that shit to them. We do not pause. We do not AO all that shit. No, we do not. You are not from Brooklyn. You are from the South Side, Inglewood. All right. But I digress. I say if they could be top 15 in both, then I think you have a playoff team.
Yeah. I'm not sold on top 5. Like again, the defensive line is not there. And now they can surprise me. Andrew Billings.
When you done with that.
And if Javon 3-Tech comes out good and then Montez Sweat is cool, and then the rotation, you have DeMarcus Walker on the other side and maybe Austin Booker comes in as the second or the third and then helps out, then sure. But that is a far wish, and I let go of my fan shades as soon as I start covering them, and I let go of my delusion before that. And so I don't have hope in that happening.
Oh, this ain't delusion, because I'm looking at ass quarterback CJ. We'll see how dude play out. Matt Stafford, all right, but y'all come in here. Ass quarterback, trick off Trev, rookie quarterback, Kyler Murray. I'm not for sure. Ass quarterback, like that's what I said. This first, I'm telling you.
To finish my point, I would say, I mean, what were they last year? 12, 13? I don't remember they were like total defensive rank. I think they could be top 10. But top 5 is just that's a big thing.
I got a question for you. Let's live in delusion land real quick. Let's just say Austin Booker is the mulatto version of Max Crosby. Now, actually, I don't even know if he like mixed. I have no fucking idea.
I'm gonna assume
See the
so.
way he was smoking
His
that
name is
cigar? I
Austin.
think he was like-
See how he was
I'm
saying
talking about
nigga.
Max Crosby.
You know what I'm saying? You see how he
Max
saying?
Crosby, yeah,
See
Max
how they was
Crosby.
blanking him out during the game. It was like, fuck
Like,
these
let's just
niggas.
say he's that. Let's say Gervon Dexter has a big fucking season. Does that change your mind?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if Austin Booker, first he would have to jump up some spots in the depth chart. But if he comes out, he jumps up those spots, he becomes just a threat. He uses his length to get to the ball. Then, wow, it was wild. He uses length to get to the ball. And then you have Andrew Billings, Javon Dexter is killing, Montez Sweat is killing. Well, then, yeah, like I said, they have a great linebacking core. Possibly the best defensive backfield. Absolutely, they would be top 5.
Let's talk about the NFC North, which I believe is the second best division in football. I think the AFC North got them beat. You got Lamar, you got Freaky Sean, you got Justin and Russell, and then you got my man Joe Burrow. So I think that's the toughest division. But I think the NFC North is number 2, and I think you got a situation where you got the Lions, who were one half short away from actually going to the fucking Super Bowl. Yeah. But Dan Campbell decided he wanted to play Madden for fucking 30 minutes and completely took his team out of it. You got the Packers, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Packers hater, but I think we're doing a lot when it comes to the Packers. The Packers and Jordan Love, to me, it's like they proposed after one date. Now, they had no choice but to pay him because they let Aaron Rodgers walk.
Yeah.
So you had to pay him.
Yeah.
But people talking about Super Bowl contenders, and I'm like, I'm not saying that they're not that good, because anything that they proved to me last year is LaFleur is one of them guys. I thought it was just Aaron Rodgers. That boy knew how to call plays.
Yeah. It's like, what's the Bears have the Bears tax? What would be the opposite of it? That's what the Packers
Well,
get.
the Packers never win playoff games.
But they get that grace that,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, they're going to do good. They're going to do good.
People talk about the Packers like they're the fucking Niners or some shit like that. So that I want to see. Minnesota, whatever chances they had, is cooked because J.J. McCarthy's injured and Sam Darnold is saying
He gonna coach at Nazareth when it's all said and done anyway.
I think Kevin O'Connor is one of the best coaches in the league. I like him, but I don't think they have enough to actually compete. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Scott. We back here for the I'm Not Gonna Hold You Chicago Bears preview special. Right now I'm here with my guy Nicholas Mariano from Chicago, CSGO Sports Bears. What's going on, bro?
Nothing much, man. I mean, we just got done with a rainy practice
and
feeling good.
Definitely, man. Glad to have you on the show, man. Tell me, this has been my third camp. What number camp is it for you?
I guess professionally it would be number 3 for me
Number
as
3?
well. So,
number 3?
Yeah.
What has been like the different vibe for you from this camp compared to the last 2 years with Justin? What's it been like?
I mean, I think there's just like this optimism, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not only do you have Hard Knocks in the building, but you also have a pretty special quarterback who can make some throws that, we just don't typically see here from Chicago Bears quarterbacks. And to go along with that, you have playmakers all around them.
Exactly.
The wide receiver position, running back, tight end. So it does have a different vibe, a Bears offense, which is weird to kind of even talk about.
Right, exactly. We never talk about that ever. So that's definitely been something that's new. To you, man, what's the ceiling of this team? I know there's a lot of excitement. The NFL is probably one of the only league you could think of where you can be worse to first that quickly. What do you think if everything clicks right for this team? What's the ceiling? Could it be NFC Championship? Could it be Super Bowl? What do you think?
Well, I've always thought if everything starts clicking for this offense, the offensive line plays good enough, and Caleb has those weapons that we were just talking about. Like, this is a team that can easily be in the playoffs. A wild card appearance, I think 10 wins is definitely doable. And look, they play in a tough division as well with the NFC North, so it will be a tough way to get there. But if Caleb in that offense are humming by week 11 when they first have that first division matchup, then I think you can win 10 games. You can make the playoffs, and it's not out of the reach for just a rookie quarterback to get to, especially what C.J. Stroud just did. And if you were to compare those rosters,
this is a better roster.
It's a better roster. So I think 10 wins and a playoff berth is obtainable for the Bears in 2024.
By the time people watch this, we'll be getting ready for week 1. But what has your impressions been of Caleb so far? It's only been a couple weeks coming in with all this hype. But I remember last year we were hoping it was just hope can Justin make that leap. What have you seen from Caleb that has impressed you so far?
Yeah, look, as a rookie quarterback, he's going to have his ups and downs. We've definitely seen that in camp. But this is a guy that had to learn a verbal cadence. Didn't really do that at USC. Then you also talk about just like getting under center, like some of the little things. But we've seen from the start of OTAs to now, he's become so much more comfortable. And we saw that in the preseason game. We've seen some of the veterans kind of talk about his comfortability, poise in the pocket, and we do definitely see the throws. So it's been impressive to see him operate the offense. We've also seen those pre-snap penalties kind of go down as we've kind of gone along with camp, which has been nice. And there's been a bunch of just change on the offensive line, which doesn't make his job easier, but I just think that as a rookie quarterback and number 1 overall pick, he is definitely progressing in the right direction. So the arrow's definitely pointing up for Caleb Williams.
What do you think the Bears' chances are to actually win the division this year, Bang?
I think because of the schedule that they have, that is high. Like I'm looking at what the Bears have at the beginning of this. We saw what happened with Detroit last year. They should have beat Detroit twice. Minnesota's not going to be Minnesota, what we thought Minnesota could be, even after the draft and free agency, because they're already dealing with injuries. So I'm looking at this like, this is a winnable division because of what they have going up against at the beginning. Now, you're going to run into like the 49ers, and you might run into the Seahawks depending on what's going on. But people forget that how we played Detroit with less talent. The Green Bay thing is the only thing that's scary, and I'm leaning towards you when it's like, okay, I'm not going to go the Green Bay route. Until we're doing it, but I am picking Detroit. Like I will pick around the Detroit game. So I think it's a winnable division because you're going to have 3 teams that's going to battle it out. It's really just going to depend on what happens outside of those division games because it might be a tiebreaker or two that might determine this.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think, Cal, I love how the NFL treats Week 18. Like, they put all the games on at the same time. I think there's a real good chance that you can have the Bears, the Packers, and the Lions all be sitting at a chance like to be 10-7 or 11-6, and it might be tiebreakers that come into play there. I'm not worried about the Lions whatsoever, and this is not disrespect to the Lions. I think they're a really, really good team, but the Bears match up well against the Lions. They should have swept their ass last year if the defense didn't fold on that last fucking drive. But I'm going to always be worried about Green Bay and I'm not talking about just one win. Like, you have to sweep them. Like, and I'm not saying they're going to, 'cause that's tough to do. But the Bears always have this thing where, in the Lovie era, they beat the shit out of the Packers. That's like the one thing since the 80s that they did. But outside of that, you have one Packer win and you don't get one for another 6 years. They got to go out there and they got to get the Packers' attention because the Packers don't respect the fucking Bears.
Yep.
They don't give a shit who's quarterback. Last year when they won one of their players is in the hallway. Don't matter. Different quarterbacks, same fucking result. Like, they don't respect the Bears. And until the Bears actually beat them, I'm not giving them a chance to win this division. So that first division game this year is against Green Bay at the crib. You got to treat that like a homecoming game. You know what I'm saying? You gotta make a statement and win that fucking game. If they can start off that gauntlet with that, I think that takes a lot of pressure off them. Not just the actual team, because a lot of the players there they weren't there for some of the tough losses. Like, a lot of them, it's kind of like, they're new to the rivalry, and it's really only rivalry between the fans. Like, the Bears been getting smacked up by the Packers for a long time. So if they can win that, I feel like it takes a lot of pressure off at least the organization, and it'll make these other games easier. So I do think they have a chance, but it kind of all depends how they play in them division games. Mikey, what chance do you give them to win the division?
I give them a good chance. Right now, they're the 3rd favorite to win the division. Obviously, with the Lions repeating, them being the defending NFC North champions, with the Packers second, and then the Bears with the Vikings last. I think it really just comes down to, for all of the top 3 teams, it comes down to that November to December schedule.
Yeah, for real football.
As I'm looking here through the schedule, it's tough for all 3 of those division teams. It's going to come down to those swing games. Who could beat the Rams? Who could beat the Niners?
Yep.
And that's tough. The tough thing for the Bears is the Bears will be going to Santa Clara. The Packers get them at home late in the season, so they'll be playing in the elements. And the Lions, they have a nice little stretch from the back end of September through.
They don't play outside games like week 12 or some shit like that.
No, they have a very nice stretch and that's why I think it's important for the Bears to come out hot, get off to one of those 6-2, potentially 7-2 starts, because they're gonna
start off 7-2. This city gonna be talking wild.
Very nuts. Very true.
We're gonna have the little fixtures in the CTA.
Niggas gonna be getting ring sizes.
Go Bears on the CTA buses.
And then you know what's gonna happen in November? That co-reality, because you play the Niners, you play the division, so it's gonna be this
Brock
season.
Purdy looking like Montana.
This season is gonna be probably the first season where we're all gonna be tuned into the Bears games, but we're gonna be really extra paying attention to the standings and what every other team is doing, what every other team, what injury they have going between the Packers and the Lions. Because I think we were talking about it earlier. I think 11 wins this division. 10. If everybody
I think 10 gets you in the playoffs. I don't think, even though the NFC is the weaker of the conferences, I don't think you're getting in the playoffs with 9 wins this year.
Well, last year, only 2 teams got in with 9. The Packers as a wild card, and then the Bucs because they were in that terrible decision.
That weak-ass division.
Every other team that got in, both on the AFC and the NFC, won 10 games minimum.
Yeah, but even Atlanta's much better now. So I believe they can win more than 9.
It's going to take 10 wins to get in.
Yeah.
So it comes down to those swing games, and it really comes down to you have to split with Green Bay and the Lions.
Yeah.
You can't go 0-2 against them and try to make it up on the other.
You got to sweep the Vikings.
So
those are mandatory games. You have to win.
100%. You got to sweep the Vikings, but you have to split with one of those two to make it tougher.
Yeah.
So I think they have a really good chance. I'm not ready to say that they will win the division.
Yeah.
I think this year the Green Bay Packers will win the division. I think that
I can see that.
I think that with a new and improved defensive coordinator that's going to come in and allow them to do some things that we haven't seen before. You have Preston Smith,
Jordan Love.
You got Preston Smith, Kenny Clark's a beast, Rashawn Gary. You got Jair Alexander. You have Jair Alexander. You get year 2 of Lucas Van Ness, where you get to let him kind of roam and see. That is what they have that the Bears don't have. You know, we're hoping we find that in Austin Booker. But now they have somebody going into year 2 that can go ahead and spell one of their veteran defensive edges and just go ahead and rush. And we saw Lucas Van Ness. Justin Fields is fast as fuck. Lucas Van Ness was hawking him down. So these white men are dangerous in the NFL. between Aiden Hutchinson, Lucas Van Ness, and what those guys have in the North, it's going to be very tough. I'm not ready to give the Bears a division. I think they have a good chance. I think it's just going to come down to who can get that 11th win first.
Joe, what you think about the chances?
I'm almost 90% certain the Lions are going to win the division. The Packers, again, it all depends on who Jordan Love is. He had an outstanding first year playing. But, again, I've seen outstanding first years. I don't know if he is a guy yet. And if he regresses, which this is his sophomore year, then I don't see them being second. And my anticipation is that it is Lions, Bears, Packers, Vikings. Vikings are just in an unfortunate situation. Even if they weren't, I hate Michigan. I don't think J.J. McCarthy's great anyway. And the Bears will probably always going to be in the middle of the road. But I don't see them winning the division. If they did, I'd be pleasantly surprised. But I think it's pretty much the Lions' division to lose.
I do like some things that Minnesota is doing on the defensive end. And when you have a defensive coordinator that's as aggressive as Brian Flores, like they're giving him the tools. So I don't think they're going to be a tough out defensively. I think offensively it's where it's going to, you have to trust Sam Darnold, so really that's tough there.
Yeah, but even you can throw the Jettas though, like that.
I don't know, man, bro. I wake up in the morning, I got to stretch, but it's gonna be a tough division. I think both Norths, the AFC North and the NFC North, are gonna be the 2 toughest divisions. Last year, the AFC North, I think the NFC North is gonna reflect that. Last year, the top 3 teams got in. That was the Ravens with 13 wins. That was the Steelers with 10 wins as a wild card team, and that was the Browns with 10 wins as a wild card team.
I keep forgetting the Steelers made the playoffs. They had that weird ass Tuesday game or some shit like that. But we got a couple more topics here before we wrap this up. I want to talk about the Bears' ceiling. You know, we said we're going to get in the full delusion land here.
The ceiling is the roof.
The ceiling is the roof, in the words of Michael Jeffrey Jordan. What do you think is like, let's just say everything goes right for the Bears? Do you think they can make an NFC Championship game? Or Nick Wright says they can be in New Orleans for – and by the way, what city did the Bears actually win the Super Bowl in? New Orleans. Where the Super Bowl at this year? New Orleans.
Y'all better have my bail money ready.
Also, it's the same week as Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
Same week as Mardi Gras.
I told you, I'm going full delusion, fam. Yes. I'm telling you, go look at the Cincinnati Bengals when they went to the Super Bowl. Did anybody think that the Cincinnati Bengals was going to have the season that they had that year? No. What they kept talking about, I don't know if Joe Burrow has the offensive line to yada, 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 yada. Everybody thought them boys was going to be huff as hell because they didn't have no offensive line, and Joe Burrow took them boys all the way to the Super Bowl. Who did he have, y'all? He had 3 good wide receivers. He had T. Higgins. He had Jamar Chase. He had Boyd over there, too. They had a pretty decent tight end. They just had an offensive line that was shaky. And a lot of people didn't necessarily have some faith in their defensive line. Linebacker core is a bit defense. It was one play, right. So, hey, I believe that the ceiling for the Bears is a Super Bowl berth. Not a win, but a berth. Because when you
I think it's a win if fucking Patrick Mahomes in it.
I mean, we'll see.
Pat's in there,
but I do believe that's the ceiling, because when you have the team, when you have the aura that they already have around them, and when you have the schedule, that's the key thing. They have the schedule that they have. They could build so much momentum, and we've seen a lot of teams that has gone from worst to first that gets momentum built off of having off of a season that they have, that the Bears could potentially have when you look at the first half of that season. So, no, I don't think that's out the realm of possibility.
I think Super Bowl, even in my highest of delusions, is a little high.
Okay.
But I do believe NFC.
I was like, come on now.
Tiff ain't poured him up enough.
What are we doing?
I think NFC Championship game, no. And I'm going to put a little more flavor on top of it. NFC Championship game at Soldier Field. If I'm going to go peak delusion, that's
Is
what I
it
think.
crack?
Oh, the word from as a place. Where does crack
Come into play then. So you're at Halas Hall. You're at Halas Hall. Where does crack
come into
come
play?
into play?
And my highest delusion, it's NFC Championship game at Soldier Field, and they probably lose a very tight game like the Eagles or like the fucking Niners or some shit, where the Bears are playing a great game, and then Brock Purdy does some shit that what the fuck is this? It's Brock fucking Purdy at home. It's terrible, but it's still making NFC Championship game. So that to
I'm
me,
peak delusion.
Look, I'll put it like this: if it's the Super Bowl. If they get to the Super Bowl and they win the Super Bowl, first I'm going to jail. I'm spending a weekend in New Orleans jail, number one. Let's be very clear about that. But that would be crazy. I think NFC Championship game would be the ceiling. Mikey, what do you think in peak delusion, peak everything goes right? Austin Booker got like 7 sacks. What do you think this team can do?
They will mirror the Green Bay Packers run of last year, and they will lose to a more seasoned team, whether that be the Niners or the Lions or somebody from maybe the NFC East like the Eagles. I think they would probably lose in the second round. And for me, obviously now, like, you have to take the emotion, everything out of it, but see what they're building. That would be a good season, because then if you're Ryan Poles armed with an extra second round pick, which we all think will be high from the Panthers. You have 9 draft picks. You have a lot of money coming up. I think then that's when you go full aggressiveness and you try to make a play for somebody like a Max Crosby from the Raiders that, we're probably anticipating will have a down year. Or you try and go get a second stalwart to play, defensive end. And you go and get you a Pro Bowl offensive lineman. Yeah. So for me, I think this team with the rookie quarterback and all of that, second round of the playoffs. I mean, if we're comparing this and what a lot of the national media is doing, a lot of fans are doing, to C.J. Stroud, right? Everybody wants to compare Caleb to C.J. Stroud because we saw what he did. That was the model. Yeah. You win the first game against a wild card team like the Browns, and then you go to Baltimore and you lose to a team that's seasoned, head coach that's been there before, and so MVP. So for me, I think getting to that divisional round would be a massive success for a rookie quarterback in Chicago.
Now, Joe, 79th and Halas fans have been waiting for delusional Joe to come back.
He's gone.
You have left us.
That's it.
He's trying to be.
Joe, you better stop playing.
He's trying to be a Jim
Stop
Rose ass
shit.
nigga now.
You better stop playing.
Come back into delusion land.
Nah.
Give us delusional 2016 era flow.
That's gone. I've seen too much hurt and pain. The only thing, my highest delusion is the divisional round. That's as high as I can go. Because there's just too many question marks for me to think it's going to work. And one of the biggest question marks are the organization itself. is Matt Eberflus the coach for the future? Is Shane Waldron the coach that's going to finally fix the Bears' offensive woes that haven't been fixed in over 100 years? And is Caleb Williams the guy? And I've seen too many times where we're like, oh, yeah, this is the jump, this is the poise, this is everything, for me to think that it's going to be, to me to have enough delusion to believe in that. And so my delusion would be a divisional round win. Divisional round game, not a win.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Scott. We here. Bears, Bengals, Caleb Williams' debut here at Soldier Field. I'm about to talk to some of the people here, see what's going on, what's the vibe out here at Soldier Field. Let's get it going. I'm looking for black people. Let's see if we can find any niggas around here. Let's go. What's going on? Yeah, what's your name? Where you from, my brother?
My name is Nick, and I live out in Ravenswood.
Okay. How you feeling about Caleb Williams' debut today? What's the vibe going on?
Honestly, like, I'm really excited. I think he's an excellent talent. He just looks like he's supposed to be there, and that's what excites me. Honestly, I got goosebumps right now just talking about him.
Here we go. We got some black folks over there. Here we go. Brothers, how y'all feeling? What's going on, my dog? What's going on, dog? What up, bro?
Let's get it. Yes, sir. Hey, yo, Bears, it's off the damn chain. It's going to be right today, and without a doubt.
Vibes is high up in here. Oh, shit. Let's talk to these people over here. Yo, do y'all mind if I ask y'all a couple questions for my show? What's going on, man? What's your name? Where you from?
I'm Wayne. I'm from Carroll Stream.
What's the vibe? I see y'all got all the good drinks out here, man. What's the vibe tonight? What you expecting for the Bears this season?
It's the usual preseason vibe.
What's your name? Where you from, brother?
Nicholas Brown, Wild Hunters, 118th and Laughlin.
Okay, Hunters in the house. What are you expecting this year from the Bears? Caleb Williams home debut. What we got going?
This is going to be a 12-5 year. I'm amazing. I'm sitting here in the rain because I love the Bears. We love the Bears.
Preseason, everybody's pretty excited. Thank you. They're down.
It's not even 11 o'clock and I already had a shot of Jameson. By the way, I've had no food today. Let's go. What would you do for the Bears to win the next two Super Bowls? What would you give up in your life for the Bears to win the next two Super Bowls?
Wait, so you said like the next two Super
The
Bowls?
next two.
Guaranteed?
Back to back, guaranteed.
Bro, I'd give up sex and breathing.
I find it pretty funny. If you look 8 months ago, this is all Justin Fields. Now look at it. Everybody showing love to Caleb. That's what I love about Bears fans. Hey, what you think's gonna happen this year, man?
Oh, it's gonna be off the chain.
Okay.
Therefore, that the Bears is going to economize all of their asses, regardless of any damn thing. We're gonna be great.
Any number prediction you got for Caleb Williams this year? What you think he's gonna do?
Nah, I'm keeping my optimism on the low side for now.
Okay. What you think this Bears defense is gonna do this year?
I think the defense is gonna be top tier. I think the offense is gonna be top tier. What we've been missing, I think this is gonna be our year.
Okay.
We're gonna do it. Definitely playoffs.
This is actually my first time at a tailgate. Usually when I come to the game, I go right into the booth. But I'm glad I got the vibe out here from the people. And now we about to go in there, see Caleb Williams and the starters. Yes, sir. And, see what they do against the Bengals, man. Final topic. It's time to cut the bullshit and pick our record. So I'm going to go.
It's the only reason why I'm here, y'all. I ain't even going to front. I've been waiting on this day.
Final pick. Then we're going to get some of the Pillars guys, their opinions. But it's the final topic with us four here. So let's just get right into it. We're going to go game by game. Maybe y'all can keep count because I'm two tequilas in. So I might, my math might be fucking with me here.
Just two?
I've been drinking Jameson since 2 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I've been drinking Jameson since 2 o'clock.
Say, fam.
I had an off day. Shout out our director, Nikhil. He knows we were standing up for like 2.5 hours at that practice yesterday. And I'm almost 36. My knees felt like shit this morning. So I've been drinking tequila. So it's like, yeah, right, in the rain. It's just like 1, 2 p.m. So yeah, it's not just,
sick.
I ain't that washed. I ain't
about
that
to get
washed.
sick. We all fucked up here.
So we gonna go by game. So week 1 at Soldier Field against the Tennessee Titans. I'm gonna go Bears win to start this season off. And I'm gonna say it's gonna be a close game. But at the end, we get a Kevin Byard pick, 6. Caleb has about 2 touchdowns. Bears win by 10 points. Bang, what you got?
Will Levis is ass. Bears by 10.
Okay. Mikey, who you got?
Bears by 9.
What the hell is up with these weak-ass scores? Are we talking about the same Tennessee Titans? That's what we're talking about?
Yeah.
They're going to win by freaking 20.
I'm cool
That
with
is
that
not
too.
a good team.
Y'all might got to get my bail money for week 1 if we beating anybody.
First game of the season, jitters.
If we're beating anybody by 20, I'm.
Yo, if it's like a 35-6
Hey, if we,
game.
wait a minute. Let me just say this now. If we talking about Bears by 20 in the beginning of the season already, G, you got to go ahead and get that delusion in. I'm with you. No, I'm with
They're
you.
just a bad team.
No, I'm with you. I'm just saying, first game of the year, jitters. All right, fuck it. Hey, Bears by dub. Matter of fact, Bears by 24.
Okay.
So my exact score for that will probably be 38 to like 7 or 38 to 10.
Oh shit.
That is probably my.
The Bears, for context, the Bears are 4.5-point favorites at the crib. I don't care what they win by. Good teams win.
Yeah.
Great teams cover. Beat them by 5, and we good.
In the words of American hero Dominic Toretto, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or by a mile. Winning is winning. That's all the fuck that matters for the Bears. Shout out to the GOAT. But week 2, first Bears game under the lights. I think they're going to have a lot of primetime games this year because I think they will get flexed into a lot of them. We're going up against the golden child, Mr. Podcast himself, C.J. Stroud. And by the way, he getting this real Jazz Chisholm on, too. Jazz was on mad podcasts during the off season, not to do shit till he got to the Yankees, but that's besides the point. But at the career, I mean, in Houston, Soldier Field South, I think Bears fans are gonna be deep out there. How you got this game playing out?
At first, when we had this conversation, I had the Texans.
Yeah.
But boy, I've been looking at Jalen Johnson do his thing in practice.
Oh, he's been a ball.
He's been a beast.
Yeah.
Ain't no way in hell you gonna tell me that Nico and Tank Dell gonna have a good game against that man right there.
How about Stephon Diggs?
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Bears.
That's what Sean McDermott said.
Exactly. The Bears at home in Houston.
I think this is going to be a really, really good game, but I think the Bears lose a close one. I'm going to go Texans in this one. Mikey, what you got?
Bears win by 2.
This is where my delusion kicks in.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
That's a little bit. That's a little bit. So the score is going to be 28-14.
Okay.
The reason I say this, again, I love C.J. Stroud. He's a Buckeye. But I've also seen C.J. Stroud tweak. He's coming after a full year of when he was just incredible. Very, very good rookie, efficient, and I mean just poised. He's about to get his welcome to the NFL moment.
Let's go.
And the welcome to the
Let's
NFL
go,
moment
Joe.
will be the Bears. He's going to get picked off twice.
Who gets the
Let's
picks?
go, Joe.
T.J. Edwards gets 1.
That makes sense.
And Kyler Gordon gets a second.
Let's go, Spider-Man.
That's going to be 28-14. And it's not. I don't even think it's going to be like just an incredible game from Caleb. It's going to be one of those is going to be a pick 6. And then the rest is going to be a solid run game, solid pass game, 28-14. I got the Bears.
So you're going to have Italian legend Mike Tirico talking about, well, you got to look at Caleb Williams here. Amazing game.
And they're going to be talking to national media after being 2-0. Let's go.
Week 3, another game that's going to be full of Bears fans.
I'll be there.
Dub.
I'll be there.
The Indianapolis Colts, Flus' old team. The Bears going up against a quarterback who I'm not scared about whatsoever. I think we were giving Anthony Richardson a lot because he had 2.
I don't know why he was drafted that high.
Man.
No, when he got drafted at the when he got drafted,
I was so bothered because I saw so many fucking games he played.
What was it? Was it Vegas or Kansas City? It was Kansas City.
It's Kansas City?
We Kansas City. And Joe was
I watched him in college. I watched him before. I was like, he's not a good
he
quarterback.
got drafted. Joe was like, get the fuck out of here. Loud as hell.
What is he doing? He's big and his measurables are great. But that's not a stat that wins games. I was confused.
That was that one white lady got mad at our enthusiasm. You got to be more quiet than that. That's the yeah. You don't remember that? Shout out my guy Jason Leisure. He's like, yeah, she was mad at Joe. I was like, fuck her. Like, anyway, but I'm gonna go. I think the Bears win this one. I think the Bears win this one by a couple touchdowns. I'm not worried about Anthony Richardson. I like the Colts defense. I like Jonathan Taylor. But Anthony Richardson, I think, is going to get put through a power driver by this Bears defense. I think the Bears are going to win this one by 2 touchdowns. So I'm going to go with that. Mikey, what you got?
Bears. I don't know the score. I could see it being like a 3-point game, field goal game. But I got the Bears winning this game. I think I still need to see more out of Anthony Richardson. Jonathan Taylor, I fully expect him to be 100% healthy and be a beast. But the Bears did finish the season as the #1 rush defense. Yep. And I think that's what they will do. They will take him away. I think they do the same thing possibly against the Texans and try to take away Joe Mixon and Pierce. So I think that they win. They start off 3-0, and we're going to be insufferable.
Whew. Joe, what you got?
I have I'm not really a glamorous 24-7 win because, again, that Bears run defense was first in the league towards the end of the year. And if you get Jonathan Taylor to not be great, I don't see anything from Anthony Richardson. And so with that shut down, I think the Bears are going to pretty much coast for most of the game. I think they'll probably go out to like a 17-0 start, and then it'll probably be dormant for the game. You'll see the Colts get a score, and then they'll get one last score. Game's over. So yeah, 24-7 Bears.
Let me ask you a question real quick. For the joint scrimmage practices between two different teams, are teams able to record that?
What do you mean by recorded?
Like are the actual teams, so the Bears and the Colts, are they able to record the practice? Like, is that film tape that they can utilize?
Yeah,
I would guess so.
Okay, because last year,
social media,
They had little things behind the quarterback.
Okay.
Okay. Because
they typically have a nice big tower there overhead, and they have like the film.
What was
people.
funny to me was only the Cincinnati Bengals Twitter was tweeting out videos at first.
No, yeah. Well, for me, the big thing is, I don't know if you guys will go back to last year. Anthony Richardson lit up the Bears defense in the scrimmage.
Yeah.
That was the reason why. Who is it? Shane Steichen?
Yeah,
Shane Steichen decided to be like, oh, he doesn't even need to play that game. Remember, that was the Tyson Bagent game.
Yeah.
And the Bears, they said the same thing with Justin Fields. They didn't play that. That was when Bagent went off. But Anthony Richardson, go ahead. When you get to the crib, look back. He lit them up, and they said that he was looking better than Justin, and that was through the air. That was through running. So I think that they need to circle back to that film just because they don't have enough game tape from him last year. But, he was able to make some plays. I will not dismiss Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman is a very nice wide receiver. I believe they still got Mo Alley. I won't say his last name on this show because Mike's already checked me. Got Josh Downs, Alec Pierce. So they have some
you
guys.
You a lot of player 2-ass niggas.
We're naming a lot of middle of the road.
A lot of 40-degree days.
Listen, I saw Shane Steichen do some shit with Jalen Hurts that I thought would never happen. So I will not discredit an offensive-minded head coach. So it's going to be a battle of the offensive-minded head coach going up against the defensive head coach. But I just wanted to know that because I do remember vividly that Anthony Richardson, was taking off against him last year.
I'm about to get real delusional.
Well, that's cool, but I have to. I don't think this would be a blowout. I think this game would be a bit closer, but I do have the Bears winning this game. Bears 3-0. Better.
I'm about to get real delusional in this bitch. Next game at the crib. Los Angeles Rams. We talked about this game multiple times tonight already. I think this is going to be a shootout right here. I think this one is going to go to overtime. I think the Bears win on a Cairo Santos field goal, and they win this one. How you see this one going?
See, the whole thing is the Aaron Donald thing, is how is this defense going to be without one of the best defensive players of all time and Raheem Morris? With that being said, the Rams coming to Chicago, and it's a 12 o'clock game, so they're gonna be off. And the Bears play Stafford well, so I have the Bears winning this game by 3, 4-0. Bear down.
You got it.
I'm not going 4-0. I'm not that drunk yet. I just
wait till the Bears lost. I give them though. Y'all gonna look at me crazy.
Week 11. For me, honestly, I just think it's McVay going up against Matt Eberflus, and Matt Eberflus. That will be the game that if he is the one calling plays like they say he is, that he's gonna have to go ahead and earn that extension. If he can go ahead and push this team to 4-0, or just go ahead and outwit Sean McVay, then I think that's when we can start talking extension. But they got Cooper Kupp, they got Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams. One thing that we do remember from last year is the running backs in open space. They were a problem for the Bears in the passing game, and we know that Matt Stafford could do that with ease. So I think it's going to be tough. That's one of those games where you're going up against a veteran-laden team. Obviously, they just played a tough game against the Lions, Stafford Super Bowl champion. So I will have them taking their first loss, and they will be 3-1.
Joe, how you got that one going?
I think this is probably in my firm opinion. I believe that's the game they lose, and it might be Caleb's welcome to the NFL moment. I say that because in my own prediction, they're coming off a 3-0 streak. Emotions are high. You're really happy, and you get brought right back down because if it's one thing that the Rams do well, it is those short, quick routes, whether that is a quick arrow route, whether that is a quick
kicking
out, a
balls,
quick
yes.
curl, a comeback. And this would really what Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp excel at. And that is where the Bears get hurt a lot. And with that, I have the Bears losing. And it might get a little embarrassing. My score would be about 31-14.
Okay.
That could be a game where what you said about Jaquan Brisker, where they
Getting
expose
that
him,
ass
where they expose him.
He ain't gonna be doing none of this.
No.
That's
That's Feats University over there. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, they
belt to ass.
Yeah. This next one, I'm pretty sure we all in agreement here against the fucking Carolina Panthers.
Are we still undefeated?
W.
Blowout win. Joe, you agree with that?
Which one?
The Panthers.
Oh God, that's 20 plus.
Yeah,
Gotta
this is gonna be a
gotta
game.
dominate.
Yeah, Scott Tepper gonna throw another fucking drink at somebody when he see that fucking score. The next one in London at Tottenham Stadium. By the way, shout out to everybody who donated to the GoFundMe. We will be there. Holding it down. They will be going up against Trickoff Trev and the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's going to be a lot of Bears fans there also because the Bears, a lot of people don't know, they have a big fan base in London.
Gotta save the king.
Because of the 85 Bears, there's a big fan base out there. There was a lot of people out there in 2019 when they played the Raiders. I'm expecting a lot more out there this time. I think this will be a competitive game, but I think the Bears are going to win this one, man. I do not like Jacksonville. I'm not really a fan of Trevor Lawrence like that. I think he gets away with murder. I think if he was a black quarterback, we'd be talking a lot more crazy about him than we do.
By we, you mean you, right?
Okay.
Right,
here we
yeah.
go. All right, okay. But he's sunshine from Remember the Titans. And we don't talk about it enough. Like if Justin Fields did some of the shit he did last year, they'd have been killing him. But I think that this Jaguar team doesn't do anything for me. So I think the Bears. This is 4 wins in a row for me. I got the Bears winning this one.
This is the first loss of the year. I think.
Oh, okay. That's what you got.
I think they're going to get caught looking this game. I got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking it in London.
What you got, Mikey?
I got the Bears. I'm not really impressed with anything that they have going on offense over there in Jacksonville. I really do like Brian Thomas Jr. I think he can take the top off the defense, but I just don't see it. I'm not a Trevor Lawrence believer, and if anything, we know that this offense will be able to get after their defense. So I got the Bears winning over there in London.
Joe, what you got?
I got Bears winning. I just don't believe in the Jaguars. I think they've gotten worse. I don't think it'll be a blowout. It's probably a 3-point win or less. But I would go the Bears winning.
I better not take a 10-hour flight for them niggas to lose.
This is the
My bad, y'all.
This is the Doug Peterson hot seat season.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
He's on, I got a couple coaches on there, but he's on there.
No, we need more Chad Penningtons. We need more Chad Penningtons.
There's no Kyle Orton.
Jay Fiedlers.
Hey, the motherfucker Brian Cincinnati, I like. Jake Browning.
More
He's just
Fitzmagic.
spinning that. Derek Carr will give you 2 great games and then 6 stinkers.
You know what it's like?
I want just 6 all right games.
It's like the role players in the NBA.
Shane.
You know why the
Shane
NBA?
Matthews.
The NBA ain't what it used to be because we ain't got no Davis brothers.
Yeah, we ain't got no journeyman, no real journeymen.
Right, exactly.
We got no wily veterans.
We ain't got no movie play
Big
like
quarterbacks are like the middle class.
Who's the wily veterans in the NBA?
We don't got no more Nazir Muhammad.
Yeah, we ain't got no more.
Oh shit, Nazir
We
Muhammad.
ain't got no more real vets.
No more.
They tell you we ain't got no vets.
No more PJ McGlures.
Nah.
David
Jamal
West.
McGlure. You
Yeah,
remember
Jamal.
about Jamal McGlure and PJ Brown.
Yeah, exactly. David West. Week 7, bye week. Week 8, my birthday weekend in D.C. First of all, I don't know why the fuck the Bears are playing in D.C. 3 years in a row. They played last year, they playing
Last
this
place
year,
schedule.
and they playing D.C. again last year.
Because they were the last place team.
Yeah,
and
but
they
in
were the,
D.C. though, it's all in D.C. Yeah, but I'm saying they're all in D.C. Last year was D.C., this year's D.C., next year's D.C. It's weird. No, they dropped the schedule for next year already. They dropped the schedule.
It's in D.C. next year,
It's in D.C. next year too. It's crazy, but I guess so.
Yeah, it's got to, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dallas comes to Chicago next year.
So yeah. This one, 1 and 2 quarterbacks going at it. They got a new thing out there in Washington right now, despite the fact they got the worst stadium in football. They've got new ownership, Magic Johnson over there. You've got Dan Quinn, a new coach, Jaden Daniels. I think this would be a nice little competitive game, but I'm just not buying what the Commanders are selling yet. Not to say that I don't think Jaden Daniels won't have a good career. I just think that his rookie season is going to be a little bumpy one, I believe. Like, I got to see more. You got Cliff Kingsbury as the offensive coordinator out there. I'm not too big on him. So I think the Bears will win this one. I think this will be a little ugly game coming off a bye week. But I think they win. That's 5 wins in a row for me right now. Now, it's going to balance in a minute. But that's what I got. What you got this one going for?
This is the game that I think is going to change the season.
Okay.
I got the Commanders winning this game. But this is the game that's going to piss off Caleb because he's going to lose against the quarterback who's also a Heisman winner, and he's number 2. There's going to be a lot of comparison between both of them in this game. Dan Quinn, I think, is going to put together a masterful game plan. It's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be a close game. But this is the game that's going to piss Caleb Williams off, and they're going to lose 2 in a row. Okay. Delusion begins after this game right here.
Mikey, what you got?
Is this a Sunday game or is this
it's a noon
game?
Yeah,
okay.
noon game.
Sunday at noon on the road.
This is gonna be an ugly game. This felt like a Amazon Thursday night, like how it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
I just think you have interesting clash of styles here because you have Dan Quinn going against his old buddy in Shane Waldron's offense. Obviously with his familiarity with Seattle. So for me, I think that this is going to be an ugly game. I think the Bears can win just off of the sheer talent on offense and wide receiver. They still have the mismatch versus the Washington Commanders secondary. So I think the Bears win this game, but I don't think it is going to be. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think this is a game where Jaden Daniels can cause some problems with his feet.
Joe, what you got?
Again, I don't believe in Jaden Daniels. I'm seeing a guy who spent 4 years in college as a mid-level QB, goes to another team, and then has a breakout season because he's playing.
2 number ones next to him.
He's playing.
I think we're seeing the passing of the torch of who hates black quarterbacks here. I think we're seeing the passing of the torch. Anthony Richardson and now Jaden Daniels. What's going on?
I just never believed in him. And I watched him for 4 years at Arizona State. I'm like, this is all right at best. This is nothing crazy. And then, of course, he has a breakout year, 40 touchdowns, 4 picks, 3,800 yards. And that's great, but that's just 1 year of him being this good player versus 4 years of just being a middle-level quarterback. And so now, coming into the league, I'm still not expecting highly of him.
No, I agree with you there. I think they've fallen in love. Same thing with Anthony Richardson with like the skill set and the tools.
Yeah.
I think at the very least he'll be able to cause some havoc with his feet.
His feet are probably the thing that give the Bears the biggest amount of trouble because, again, he's in college in his last year, he's a very accurate quarterback. He has a cannon for an arm, and he can escape very easily, and his ability to be shifty in the open field is second nature to him, which is great. But again, you're going against NFL level talent where everybody is the best at their position, coming from college, and I don't think that's enough for him to really scare the Bears. And because of that, I still have the Bears winning.
What week is that?
It's week 8.
He won't be up right now.
So I got to win it, but it'll be an ugly one for sure.
Week 9, 3:05 game in Arizona. Got the Cardinals and the Bears. This is just one of them odd West Coast games. I think the Bears are going to lose this game. I think they're going to win. The Cardinals are going to win this. Marvin Harrison going to have a crazy-ass type game. Kyler Murray going to be in full man-man mode, running for a couple, throw a couple. I think this will be an ugly game for the Bears. Bank, what you got?
Cardinals is ass.
Thank you.
Bear down.
That's
No, we lost 2. We coming off of a 2-game losing streak.
If y'all thought there was gonna be a lot of Chicago fans in Houston, Arizona is Chicago 2.0. You know what I'm saying?
Boy.
That's where all the crooked police officers and politicians go. I will be there.
Mountain Greenwood niggas out there.
I will be there in that game. If you see me with a bunch of Spanish Cobras, Maniac Latin Disciples, some Latin Kings, all of us, a couple Vice Lords, like I got a lot of cousins, we will be there. But that's a W. That's a W.
The Cardinals don't have enough. But my hot take,
I think it's going to be a stupid-ass game, though.
I think it'd be a 10-point win for the Bears. The hot take, which is probably just really weird or really random, is that I think Jalen Johnson's going to get his ass whooped. I know this a lot,
Marvin.
But I think Marvin is one of the most talented wide receivers coming out of college. And it's to the point where he was just it felt like, why is this NFL player playing with college kids? That's what I felt like. And I love the Buckeyes. And, of course, I have so much hate that I have with Ryan Day. But it was like, okay. As soon as the ball was in the air, I said, well, that's going to get caught. And he's a very, very, very good wide receiver. And what I mean by ass beat, I'm saying he'll probably get over 100 yards receiving. That's my take. But they're still going to beat him.
Always remember, those players that change their number to a double digit is not the thing, is going to get cooked. I ever seen that. Other than that, you got DNs with the number 9 and shit like that, they get cooked. There's no reason for Jalen
The superstition is out there.
There's no reason to do that. Like, when I see a linebacker, it needs to be 54 to a fierce. 50 to 59. If I get a 3, he's getting his ass.
Was that was that Isaiah Simmons? You getting cooked?
Week 10, I think we can all. This is gonna be a Drake May. Get ready to learn XFL, buddy.
Nigga, Drake May, Joe Milton's gonna play in this game.
This is gonna be a dub. This is a dub, man. We're gonna everybody.
Where we at right now? Yeah, no, that's about
Yeah,
right.
I'm
That's
7-2
about
right now.
I think I had 2 losses too.
I
Yeah.
think the loss I had was the Texans, and I had the Cardinals.
I had Jacksonville and
Okay.
Rams.
I got Jaguars and Bears, so I'm 7-2.
Okay, so right now, this is when the gauntlet starts. Green Bay at the crib.
Loss.
Woo, man.
Loss.
Look, man.
Until you win, these are both losses
Look,
today.
man.
This shit is a loss.
I'm with you. I think the Bears gonna lose this.
It's a
one.
loss.
I think.
Gotta beat him.
I think this game gets flexed into game of the week.
One of the world's greatest philosophers, Rickland Flair, said to beat the man.
You gotta beat the man.
To beat the man, you gotta beat the man. And so
Yeah,
they're gonna lose. You gotta beat him first.
I think the Bears lose this one.
I think they lose, but this is going to be a highly competitive game. This is going to be one of those games where it's like, we lost, but niggas scared. Fuck.
That's fair.
So
Them niggas
you think
scared.
Jordan Logan walk out like Pinky?
Yeah, like, oh, shit.
Them niggas
Almost had me.
Mikey, do you agree or no?
Until you beat them, man. That's an L. I mean, honestly, I do think that they split this year with the Packers. I think it's more likely that they would win at home versus at Lambeau.
Okay.
But yeah, it's an L for me until I can see that. That is an interesting week though for flex. They can't go to CBS because that's Chiefs Bills, and they're not gonna take Aaron Rodgers out of Sunday night.
Well, that's if he's playing by November.
If he's not arrested.
If he's not arrested after the election, or that Achilles isn't pulled pork.
That is election week. Oh
yeah.
shit.
But they have 3 games in 10 days.
Yep.
Yeah, that's tough.
gonna be tough.
And their division.
And they're all division games. So next the next week at the crib
Beating the
against
shit out
Minnesota,
them.
I
Shit out
think
them boys.
I think Minnesota wins that one.
You think Minnesota?
No, I mean my bad. I think Chicago.
What? Yeah, I
my
think
bad.
that's
almost hit you with
Nah.
I think that's the Bears dub.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Bears. I got the Bears sweeping Minnesota, so you can add that to my tally.
Okay. Thanksgiving. Bears back on Thanksgiving.
2-game losing streaks happening.
Yeah, 2-game losing streak.
Yeah, because they're about to lose the next 2 games.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I got the Bears winning on Thanksgiving.
No.
The Lions.
In Detroit. No.
I don't give a shit about that.
The in Detroit means nothing. But
I
yeah.
don't give a fuck if it's in Detroit. I got the Bears winning that game.
I got the Bears losing this game.
Losing.
Okay.
Losing.
I got the line. I got the Lions. I got the Lions on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm okay.
You asked out.
I think you're gonna see Caleb and DJ eating that turkey leg in the
That's
middle of the field.
I think like 7-4 at this
Ain't
point.
Caleb vegan right now, man?
He is?
Yeah, I think Caleb. Oh no, he on that TB12
He on that
shit.
TB12 diet.
Yeah, I don't know. That's white girl diet. That ain't turkey leg.
The next week.
Drummed. You're getting their ass beat.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think the Niners.
I don't
is
think
that.
so.
Niners.
I think that Niners is a reality
I don't
check.
think so. I'm telling y'all right now, I think we're looking at that 49ers game and we like, oh, I'm going to tell y'all right now, I don't think that the 49ers are going to be as good as they've been these last couple of years. I also believe just look at what happened a couple of years ago. When the Bears played the Rams in LA, we just knew that they was going to get their ass whooped. I think that's the game that's really going to show everybody that the Bears are going to be somebody to reckon with.
I'll say this.
I got the Bears in that game.
If they win that game, yes. I agree with that. This is when we think, okay, the Bears, this is somebody to reckon with. I just don't see it. I think this is something where they get put.
I mean, no, I don't.
They get put through a
I don't think nobody is going to see it now, but I think, but when we get to that, it's a lot of momentum involved. Like I think that game is going to go a lot different than people think right now.
What you think, Mikey?
That's the day that Debo or Kittle's gonna put their fucking clavicle through.
If them niggas is healthy, that's the other thing too.
That's
if they on the field.
That's when that secondary they gonna need to keep that ambulance nearby. That is the Niners.
That's Jaquan Brisker down.
Like we also need to think.
the Niners.
Hey, them players you just named be missing games around this time of the year.
Hey, if I gave Sean McVay all that bail, what do you think I'm gonna get at Kyle Shanahan? The Niners are gonna win.
Gotta get Kendall Roy some of that bail. Niners.
Yeah, that's too much.
Next week we play the Lions again at the crib. I'm going.
Well, now you
Bears
missed
again.
that Vikings game.
Oh, my bad, Vikings. Yeah,
But we
Vikings.
won that.
Bears gonna win now.
Yeah, Bears.
Yeah, I got Bears.
Bears gonna sweep them.
I got the Bears sweeping the Minnesota.
I'm gonna go further. Bears sweeping the Lions. I got the Bears again. I'm not
I'm
worried
beating the
about
Lions.
the
I have the Bears
give
on
them
this
the
game.
win. I'm going to give them the win the next one against the Lions.
Yeah, I'm giving the Bears the win. Anytime you could get Jared Goff out in the elements, that is Christmas week. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got 2 more games left. So then the day after Christmas, Thursday night football, they will be playing the Seahawks at the crib.
We winning that.
I got the Bears winning that one as well.
No.
I got that as an L.
I got that as a loss. I got that as a loss.
Playing up there in Seattle with the 12th
It's not in Seattle.
man.
It's Chicago.
It's here.
Oh, it's in Chicago. Oh, no, I got the Bears.
I got lost. I just and it's not even a specific like scheme that
In
makes
the
me think.
cold?
It's not a specific. I mean, in Seattle cold, I have no clue.
No,
But
it's just raining.
raining. I'm still gonna go Bears.
Gino
losing.
and Gino.
It's probably just Bears like PTSD. But I'm gonna go Seattle winning.
Nah, they better not lose.
Like they playing them at night, son.
No, yeah, it's a Thursday. It's a Thursday game after Christmas.
At night.
I think on Christmas, you know, when you add in that fact that Seattle will be here, I think you got to go with the team that was slept in their bed.
Okay. Final game. We don't know what day this will be. It'll either be January 4th or 5th in Lambeau Field. Bears Packers. Like I said,
With the division on the line, y'all.
The way all shit is looking, we already wrapped it up.
With the division on the line.
As I was looking at the games, I've already got them at like only 4
Shit's
losses
a loss,
right now.
nigga. They gonna lose again.
It's an L.
I'm gonna say it's a loss.
Now this.
I give them a better chance to win this than the one at home. But
My hot take is that I'm gonna say a hot take, but my take on it is the first game I don't think is going to be close. It's not gonna be a blowout, but I don't think the Bears will ever feel like they're in the game. The second one is when I think Caleb. It literally turns into a shootout, and you start to realize how good of a player he is. But at that last second, they'll probably lose on probably a kick. But it's going to be that game that I think is going to send a little bit of fear in Green Bay to realize that your time is probably over. Right. But as of right now, I still think they hold on for dear life.
yeah, I agree with that.
So I have that same logic, that same mindset towards the matchup between the two, but I just have it reversed. I think that Week 11, that first division game, I think they go ahead and they instill that fear in Green Bay that, oh, shit, this is a different set of weapons that we're going up against. This isn't the same that we're used to. And I think the defense will learn from what they saw against Jordan Love last year. But I think at home, Lambeau, after New Year's, I think that Green Bay, Michael Floor, they go ahead and they rally and they say, hold on, we're gonna get our lick back. So I have them splitting with the Packers, but they're losing that last game. And I hope, based on I think where we're at, like 11, 12 wins. I think at 11
I'm
wins,
at 12 and 5 right now.
at 11 or 12 wins, we should be in the playoffs regardless.
Yeah.
I
have them at
have Green
Mine
Bay
would be
losing.
11-6. Mine would be 10-7.
I got the Bears
10-7
winning
because
that
I have the
game.
Seahawks loss.
I have the Bears. This I believe that this game is going to be whoever wins this game wins the division and get a first round game at home. I think the Bears wins this game.
Fuck, I'm changing my opinion. Bears win. And this is why I say, because it being what you said earlier, they lose a close one at home, but it puts a little bit of fear into the Packers. And I think the Bears correct their mistakes. They win a very close game. Maybe in overtime, maybe a game-winning Caleb drive, but I'm going to say the Bears win. So I'm having them at 13-4.
Oh God!
Yeah,
I'm putting.
Yeah, good. This is the best team in the NFC.
No, I just think Atlanta is going. I think Atlanta is going to be the number 1 seed.
Look,
but the Bears right next to him.
Man, there'll be a cold day here if I'm scared of fucking Kirk Cousins.
Oh, I ain't saying that we gonna be scared of him.
He is who we thought he is.
Or he might get hurt and it's Michael Penix.
Y'all was doing drugs before you got here?
If Michael Penix got in, I'd probably be a little bit of
13 and 4. No bullshit. My boy texted me earlier today. He said, "Hey, low key, Bears going 12-5," and he said, "With this emoji." I'm like, all right, but I can see it.
I can see it, like, because there's a lot of winnable games there as well. Yeah. So
But this is the thing. If Caleb Williams proves himself in his rookie year to be you win because of guy,
right?
Similar to like what we said about Joe Burrow, like he had a terrible offensive line, but you win because of him, and then the supporting cast. If he can be somebody that elevates, if Caleb Williams is somebody that makes Braxton Jones better, if Tevin Jenkins is upright, if he can make him better, if he can make a Cole Kmet better, if he can make a Tyler Scott, because we know what those other guys are going to be, then the sky is the limit, because the team is really like that offensively. My worry is just the defensive front and just being able to get enough pressure, because they will be going up against some quarterbacks late in the year that know how to manipulate the pocket, and that have the back half of the year outside of the Vikings games, they're going up against veterans.
Yeah.
You got Jared Goff, Jordan Love, obviously he's going into his second year, but he's been somebody that's been sitting for a while. He knows that system. Brock Purdy knows that system. Geno Smith isn't a new system, but he's a veteran, so it's gonna be tough. But if Caleb Williams can elevate the play of everybody around him and be what we think he is, then the sky is the limit.
Wins instill confidence. I believe that the schedule that the Bears have is going to put a lot of confidence on that team. And as much as we are talking about the offensive side and Caleb Williams, I don't think you want to give that Bears defense any confidence. You give that defense confidence, it's a wrap. And that's why mostly I have this team being so good. Not because of the offense, but the confidence that the defense will have by the time they go up against their division rivals and the San Francisco 49ers.
All right, man, we here with the founder of this great store, Pillars. And this is my guy right here, Mike Willis, founder of Pillars. I've known this guy a long time. About 21 years at this point. Like we got shot at together on 79th. That's how you know you cool with somebody. Crazy. You got shot at together. Like and if contrary to popular belief, I did hop a fence when a nigga got shockingly.
But you do anything when you're scared.
You do anything when you're scared.
It definitely happened.
It definitely happened. But we are here, man, and y'all new establishment here in Orland Mall. Tell me just really everything you guys have been, going through, closing one shop, opening another one, reopening the West Loop, the collaboration you got with leaders. Tell about everything you guys going on with the Pillars right now.
It's just you got to move where the money at, man. Like it's everything's business. Like even with these athletes, like you sign 2-year deals or a 2-and-1, 1-and-1. Like saying LeBron and them do. You just got to move to where the money at, where the economy at. You got to adjust your prices. It's a business. Like everything in this world that we do, like it's a business. But the thing with leaders, we've been trying to work on a collaboration for a while now. They store is actually across the street from ours, so. We just came together and it was like this, do something. We had shirts and, they had a logo for us and we just put it together, did a couple of videos and shots like that, and it definitely went well. Here at Orland, like when I was growing up, I know Orland was always a good mall to come to. It's kind of far, but it's a good mall to go to. And we just always, like I said, just the aesthetics of this, wanted to look nice. We still make the same thing, jogging outfits. Pretty, everyday wear, jogging outfits, T-shirts, hats, socks, anything but drawers, basically. Anything but drawers, we should make those too. So, but it's been doing well here. So, we just going where the money at. You got to close some shops and just move around.
Definitely, man. Now we're also Bears fans.
Absolutely.
been a long time Bears fans. I told the Peanut Tillman story earlier, and it was also funny.
Mike Brown was in that play too. People
Mike
forget about
Brown
that.
was in that play too.
I wasn't a fan of Mike Brown.
Mike Brown was in that play too. It's also funny. Remember our guy Allen at Curie.
Oh,
He came to school with that
Hispanic
fucking
game.
Peanut Tillman.
I was heated. Like, did you not watch the game?
Gotta support our guys, man.
Yeah.
That shit pissed me
He's
off.
very optimistic.
Yeah, very optimistic. But what's some of your thoughts for this Bears team, man? What do you think? How this season's gonna go? What are you looking forward to? And I know you said off air that you expecting one of the NFC North teams to fall off. Just tell us about what you think about the Bears for this season.
So I think the Bears are going to have a good season. Like you said, we got a last place schedule. That's one. And here's my thing. Even though this is two different sports, usually the team that gets the number one pick is the worst team.
Yeah.
We literally wasn't the worst team. I think the Lakers with Magic Johnson and them, they got it. And I think that was off a trade.
Yeah, that was off a
So
trade,
they
yeah.
wasn't the worst team. And Tim Duncan with the Spurs. So they were the worst team, but hear me
That
out.
was intentional
They,
taking.
right. They had like David Robinson
was
got
sitting
injured.
David Robinson.
A lot of
Yeah.
people, they did that on purpose. So technically they wasn't that bad of a team either. And the Bears technically should have won at least 9 games last year. We tricked off a few games. So we're not the worst team. We're not even close to the worst team. And we got one of the best generational talents that they have. You know what I'm saying? So I believe he is the player that everyone think he is. I really believe it. Even his college days at Oklahoma and the USC, his best receiver was Jordan Addison.
Yeah,
Is that his best receiver?
When USC.
Yeah, that was in USC, and he played well at Oklahoma as well. So he just left when Klingberg, right? Was that him?
No, it was Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, Lincoln Riley. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he's better than a lot of players, but you giving him he's not starting off. So technically, he would start off with Deontay Johnson and Adam Thielen as his receivers if he was with the Panthers.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's not starting off with that. He's starting off with Keenan Allen, 1,000 yards. DJ Moore, 1,000 yards.
Coming off a career year.
You know what I'm saying? You still got Cole Kmet. You got Everett. You got Swift in the backfield. You got Roshan Johnson in the backfield. Herbert. Herbert just ain't got no burst. He just don't got no burst.
You got DeAndre Swift.
Right. So, but he's coming into this with like a lot of weapons. He finna spin that bitch. If he doesn't, I'm more so the Bears could be mid and he's just fucking great. So say like the Bears go fucking 7-10
9
or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was basically because the defense was ass. We can fix that.
Yeah.
We got 8 picks next year. If he's spinning that bitch, I'm more faithful in that. To me, I'm an Ohio State guy too. I think he's better than C.J. Stroud. I think he's better than Jordan Love. I think he's better than a lot of players because C.J. Stroud, when he was in college, definitely had those weapons he was throwing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Niggas come with those weapons. So, also, too, if he does do good, you got to show it to me another year. Like that Jordan Love shit, it looks good.
I feel like you got to do it 3 years.
You got to do it. You got to do it again. Jared Goff missed the 10 yards. If it's over 10 yards, it's cooked.
Carson Wentz was the MVP candidate.
Yeah, we played the Lions well last year. We should have won both games, but I don't like Eberflus. I'm more of a.
I don't like defensive coaches.
I don't like defensive coaches. Like people say, "Oh, DeMeco Ryans," but DeMeco Ryans still sat next to Shanahan. So yeah, Jared Goff missed the 10 yards after he threw it more than 10 yards is cooked. So one of those teams, Detroit or the Packers, are going to come. Like somebody's finna flip flop. I do have the Bears winning around like 10 games, but in the season it could be 11. But in the season you're gonna lose a game you wasn't supposed to lose, and you're gonna win a game you weren't supposed to win.
Yeah.
But I also think it would be more blowouts than people think. We're gonna blow out the Patriots. I don't think they might score a touchdown.
I can see that.
The Titans, we're playing a lot of top 5 terrible teams. Like the Titans and the Patriots are going to be in the top 5 worst teams.
Yeah.
Especially with Will
Don't
Levis.
forget the Panthers.
Right. We're playing the Panthers. We're playing the Titans. We're playing the Patriots, and the Commanders are going to be terrible as well. Like I think a lot of people are putting a lot of hype into Jane Daniels. Over time, he might get better, but he's
I
another.
think it's gonna be a rough rookie year for him.
I think like they're over. Like when he look over to that side and Malik Neighbors not there and Brian Thomas Jr. is not on the other end, and you got Terry McLaurin, then I don't know who the next person is. It's going to come back to earth for him. I do like his talent and things like that, but I think those are blowout games. The Jaguars, I'm not scared of Trevor Lawrence throwing to Gabe Davis. Like we got to keep it real. Like Gabe Davis, like he's their number one receiver.
Gabe Davis and what's that fucking
It's
tight
going
end?
Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be with, but you talking about Ingram,
Yeah,
Evan Ingram, right?
Ingram, yeah,
right,
Ingram,
yeah,
yeah.
like no,
Yeah, he got one of them Vegeta linings.
I'm straight on that. So like I said, we playing the last place schedule, but I think he's going to throw for over 4,000 yards. I honestly believe he's going to get 30 touchdowns, and I just think like Banks said, like the defense is going to eat on some of these terrible ass teams. Like they're not finna let Will Levis score 20 on them. They're not finna let Drake May
score anything.
Mac Jones 2.0 score anything. Like you're not finna let what's my man from Alabama the Panthers.
Oh, Bryce Young.
Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Like we fleeced them.
Bryce
like,
Young, my height.
Yeah, like that second round pick we finna get from them. That's finna be a high second.
It's gonna be
pick.
damn near first round.
Yeah, so we're gonna be a good team. I think we're gonna be a good team, and I think he's the guy, bro.
Give me your. We close this out. Give me your record prediction.
I got 11-6.
Does that win the division?
Nah.
Okay. So who you got winning the division? Detroit.
It's going to I think Detroit still. It's the coaching. It's all about coaching. Even though Dan Campbell it's all about the coaching. Dan Campbell gonna trick out some shit, but it's all about the coaching. I don't like Eberflus. I don't think that's the right coach for. If you coming in, I think you got to have a genius offensive person. I know you don't like Kingsbury, but if only thing you have to focus on is offense, I think he should have been the hire. The reason being, when he was with Kyler Murray,
head coach?
No, as offensive coordinator. The reason being, people forget when Kyler Murray was up front, standing up front, they went 9-0 at one point.
They were 9-0.
They were 9-0 and they lost. They was 9-0 in one season with D-Hop and Kyler Murray. I like Kyler Murray. So he knows how to run an offense. He might can't do shit else. He might can't be a head coach. He might can't manage the time and things like that. But certain people are just good at certain things. And I think we just need – I mean, I don't know what Shane Rodgers will do. They say he fixed Geno, but who knows? You know what I'm saying? But we're going to see. But we're past those times where all defense win championship bullshit. At the end of the day, you got to score points. It's only one way to score points. Unless your defense is fucking scoring all the time, which not happening. There's only one way to score points. Fuck that defense. We were the last team. Us and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were the last team to put a shotgun in our playbook. If you played Madden back in the day, you had to use somebody else's playbook. I mean, I understand Shane Matthews our quarterback, but goddamn.
Oh my God, Shane Matthews.
I got us at 11-7. I think you talking about a hot take. I think Caleb going to be in the MVP discussion.
God damn. Okay.
I think he's going to be in the MVP discussion.
Okay.
So hear me out on that one. Go ahead.
These are going to be very fun to bring this back in October. See if we were on to something or if we were smoking a lot of dope when we was
I was right about the Mitchell Trubisky thing. He should never been drafted.
There's a lot of people right about that.
No, some people think, he should have been first round, third. He should have never been drafted. Always remember that. Never should have been drafted.
Let them know where they can get in tune with you guys with Pillars, where they can shop at.
Yeah, man.
Like
you got Orland Mall, Chicago Ridge Mall, and West Loop at 1167 West Madison. Come on in. We have a little back to school sale for the kids. Just come on, shop with us.
So as we wrap this up, man, any final thoughts before we close this out? As we get ready, by the time you're watching this, we'll be 4 days away from the first game. Any final thoughts before we close this up?
I just think, last year we said that it was the most important season in Bears history. We could scrap that. It's this year. The team is built offensively to keep up with any team in the league for the first time in a very long time. We have a promising young rookie quarterback. A lot of people they see the Bears being terrible, and we run through all these quarterbacks. This is our first time in over 50 years where they've selected pick 1-1, where they had the choice of the number one guy. So just for me, have fun with the season. You have to kind of temper expectations, but fuck it, be a fan how you want to. Just know there's going to be ebbs and flows with this quarterback. I think we saw in preseason, just off of the Buffalo Bill drive, that this looks different. It looks how an offense should look. So I'm just really excited for this, and it's going to be really interesting to see the growth of this team, especially the combination of, you know, what we hope to be our quarterback wide receiver tandem for the next, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years in Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze.
Any final thoughts?
My final thought is, Bears fans, embrace the delusion. I say embrace the delusion because sports are fun. They're great to watch. They're great to be involved because you're emotionally involved. So that feeling of pain, whether you're thinking about as far as 2005 and 2006, or you're thinking about recent memory, 2018, 2019, I say let that go and just enjoy the season for what it is. You think the Bears are going to the Super Bowl? Own that. Own that. Have fun, because I think the Bears have, for the first time in a long time, maybe ever, or maybe since probably the 80s, they've put together a team that can compete with the best of them. I'm not sure where they'll go, but I have faith in the belief that they believe in themselves and they have put themselves in a good position to succeed.
I think wins brings confidence. And when you have a team that was 7-10, a minute and a half away from being 10-7, get the number one pick and improve on offense greatly. You've never seen a team that finishes the way that the Bears finish have the number one pick. So they've upgraded at the quarterback position, which was a hindrance for them, honestly, for the last couple of years. You've upgraded your running back room. You've upgraded your wide receiver room. You've upgraded your tight end room. I look at teams like the Cincinnati Bengals, where they didn't think that Joe Burrow and company had the talent enough to go to the Super Bowl, and they did. Their wins masked their deficiencies. Even go back years ago, if you're as old as me, shouts out to Orlando because he might laugh when we see this. But I remember when the Bears went 13-3. They had lost their first game, and then they went on a run. And that team wasn't necessarily the most talented team, but wins breeds confidence. And you do not want to give this defense, who already comes in with a lot of confidence, even more, especially when they know they have the quarterback of the future.
My final thought, just kind of piggybacking off what Mikey and Joe said. That's Bears fans, open yourself to love, man. Don't be so scared. You know, I saw a lot of people calling in the radio stations. Oh, I'm scared to get my hopes up. It's sports. That's what the fuck you're supposed to do. At the end of the day, there's only one team that's gonna be happy come February. There's gonna be 31 other fan bases gonna be upset. So embrace it. Embrace the highs, embrace the lows. That's part of the season. You never know what's going to happen. Enjoy this. The point of going through a rebuild and going through the shitty football that we done watched the last couple seasons is to get to this point where you can actually dream and have optimism for these things. And even with Caleb, yeah, I think he's going to have a really good year. But you got to remind yourself, he's a rookie. Like, he has never played. He's going to play more football this year than he's played in his career. There might be a rookie wall that comes. Might be a couple games where he's not looking as hot. Let's not jump off the building when he does stuff like that. So just accept the ups and downs and just fully enjoy this season, because these seasons go by pretty quick. Before you know it, it'll be fucking Thanksgiving. It'll be like a month left in the fucking regular season. So enjoy that shit. That's my only advice to Bears fans. So that's all we got for y'all. I'm not going to hold you, Chicago Bears special. Shout out to everybody who was involved in this. Shout out to Pillars for hosting us and doing this whole thing with us. Shout out to the members of the media who I interviewed. My guy Herb Howard, my guy Adam Johns, Nicholas Mariano. Shout out to Daniel Hardy, who we interviewed, and just everybody who was involved, Halas Hall, everybody putting this thing together. We appreciate y'all, man. So I'm your boy Scott signing off here. I'm not gonna hold you. Be going back to our twice a week schedule, starting the day after the first games. We're going on Monday. Monday is gonna be the Super Show. We're gonna be about 3 hours. Recapping and things like that. Friday be shorter show, about 2 hours for that. We got y'all all in tune all through the football season. A lot of good guests coming up, so we appreciate everybody who's going to be on the show. Y'all can follow me at all social media platforms at Barberchair Scott. Y'all can follow Bang at JR Bang on all social media platforms. Follow Mikey at Junior_Solito. Follow Flows at Flows Andolini. Follow the Barberchair Network at Barberchair Net on all social media platforms. Follow H&B Media, H&B Media TV on Twitter, and H&B Media on Instagram. And, of course, subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Barberchair Network. We will holler at y'all for the Friday show, which is tomorrow. We up out of here. And that's all we got for y'all, man. Shout out to everybody who tuned in. I'm not going to hold you. Chicago Bears season preview edition. We wrapping up here live from Soldier Field. Shout out to everybody who's involved. Shout out to the Pillars Club, the Orland Park location, Mike, Dukes, Dre, everybody over there for hosting us for a good portion of that. Shout out to Halas Hall. Shout out to Chicago Bears. Shout out to Daniel Hardy, who gave me a chance to interview him. Shout out to DJ Moore for interviewing. Shout out to Adam Johns, Herb Howard, Nicholas Mariano for all their help as well. It's going to be a big season for the Bears. Of course, we're going to hold you down on I'm Not Gonna Hold You each and every Monday and Friday. Monday it'd be the Super Show 3 hours. Friday it'd be the regular 2-hour show. Local hour will be kicking off the show throughout the football season, man. So shout out to everybody who's involved. This has been a whole process. Shout out to my director, Nikhil, for holding it down. Shout out to everybody, man. And that's all we got, man. Let's see what the Bears gonna do. We out.